it's rush hour in Indianapolis. Not the Friday afternoon jam from office to home, but from the Brickyard, Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where throngs watched NASCAR Nextel Cup Series qualifying earlier today, about 15 miles to the west to Indianapolis Raceway Park. Another huge crowd is gathering to see the heated action that August short track racing can bring. The drivers are ready, the lights are on, and the sparks are about to fly. It's August in Indianapolis, racing capital of the world, when the city welcomes the stock car crowd to town. Tomorrow, NASCAR Nextel Cup drivers take to the famed Brickyard, but tonight, just across town, Saturday night short track racing. You can feel it in the air as the racers of NASCAR's Busch Series invade IRP.
I can feel it in the air.
TNT Sports welcomes you to Clermont, Indiana for the 24th renewal of the NASCAR Busch Series Summer Highlight, 200 laps of racing at Indianapolis Raceway Park. The fans turn out here because the racing's always entertaining. The tight confines of this 6/10 mile keep the action close. The fans are right on top of that action. With flat corners that are tricky to tame, sometimes to make the winning pass, the driver here needs to lean on 8 tires. The 4 on his car and the 4 on the car to his outside. To pit road, here's Ralph Shaheen.
Alan, one of the really unique things and really cool things about IRP is the fans get to get right up close to the cars and the drivers just before we go green. In fact, Reed Sorensen was just over here signing autographs. Why do they want his? Because for the second time this season, he's on the pole. Congratulations on that, Reed. Now, I had the chance to ride with you and David Stremme around the track, and you guys were discussing strategy for turn 1. What's the game plan between you and your front row partner?
Well, David knows that we're trying to run for points here, and he's doing the same thing. So his car might be a little bit better than mine on old tires. So he's going to try to let me get 5 points out of the deal. And I told him if he's knocking on my door, I'll let him go. So I hope David and I don't get in any kind of situation where teammates. So that'd be kind of crazy. But David and I get along really well, and it's pretty cool being on the front row together. And I asked him whether he thought I should take the outside or inside. I don't know if that was a good idea, but he's usually pretty honest with me. So hopefully we can get our 5 points and then have a good run the rest of the night.
That's lap 1. Lap 2, it's every man for himself, Lindsay.
Thanks, Ralph. The first place battle in this series is a tight one. Only 70 points separate Clint Boyer from points leader Martin Truex Jr. Tonight, they qualified 8th and 9th respectively. Clint, I want to start with you. You said this isn't your favorite track. How are you going to get it done tonight?
Hopefully we'll do that. But it's a tough racetrack. It's hard to pass on. Luckily, we are starting up front a little bit. We struggled here last year, but I learned a lot. So just got to keep the fenders on this AC Delco Chevrolet and have some fun. So, that's our game plan. Hopefully, we was real loose in qualifying, so it should pay off. Hopefully, the track's going to tighten up. Talking to the drivers and driver intros, I think that's what everybody's anticipating. So, hopefully, plan works.
And we'll walk next door to the man who starts 9th tonight, Martin Truex Jr. Martin, you've been splitting time between here and over at Indy. So tonight, do you finally get to focus on a win here?
Yeah, I hope so. The car wasn't as good as I would have liked it to be in practice this afternoon, and guys been working real hard. We made some changes for qualifying, helped it. Hopefully the weather helps us a little bit. I'm banking on that. So I don't know. We'll see when we get our best pair of Chevrolet up front. Hopefully we'll be, we just need to be around at the end.
And it's a hot night for everybody down here. Ralph?
Well, Lindsay, Tony Stewart's in a really good mood. He's over here trying to mess up my hair, but the only good thing, there you go again. Yeah, but you know what?
Like a rat on acid or something now.
Yeah, but you know what? At least mine's just natural color. What is this up here? What do you call that?
Well, see, I've got a miniature Australian Shepherd that Patty and Kyle Petty got me, and it's kind of got this light color, and she's got dark color, and then she's got some gray. So, hairdresser in Charlotte that did that to me. So, you'll have to take it up with her. She lives pretty close to you. She probably does your hair too.
This place is so tough when it comes to changing track conditions weather-wise. What can we expect out of it tonight? You won a lot of races here.
Yeah, we had Dennis Setzer in the car this morning after he ran the truck race last night, and he's got us pretty loose right now, and he said that's what helped him last night be really good. So, you know, with the clouds coming in, it's already getting really cool out here. So the surface temp's cooling off from when we qualified. Not a bad qualifying run for us. We just got to be a little tighter. But the good thing is, I think as the race goes on, our car's just going to keep getting better and better. And I think a lot of guys are probably going to be fighting, being tight. So hopefully we'll be in good shape.
He's in a good mood and feeling racy, Alan.
And Tony Stewart going to come from midfield in 17th position. 43 drivers ready to go. The opening ceremony and green flag coming up from Indianapolis Raceway Park. Every year since 1982, the NASCAR Busch Series has run 200 laps at this Indianapolis Raceway Park short track. Before tonight's event gets started, we join the pre-race ceremony.
Are presenting our colors. And part of the show, indeed, is Reverend Mark Wright from Hazendale Christian Church for the invocation.
Let's pray together, my friends. Our dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for a great evening and this great opportunity to be here at the Kroger 200. Lord, we pause to remember our young men and women who are in the military serving our country. Watch over them as they are in harm's way. And Lord, we pray for all the loved ones of these drivers. Bring them your great calm as they get to racing tonight. Be with the drivers as they compete and give them a steady hand. And Lord, your word says, make a joyful noise unto the Lord. May the sound of these engines and the trading of paint and the roar of this great crowd be a joyful noise to you. And Father, finally, let these good old boys get it on. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
And ladies and gentlemen, to sing our national anthem, please welcome Crystal Land.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, St. John's, that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
And the F-18 Super Herder from Naval Air Station Oceana.
Well, the fans are ready. The crews with their final huddles. Time for the drivers to buckle in. When we come back, the command to start engines and the green flag for tonight's NASCAR Busch Series race at Indianapolis Raceway Park.
Got a problem. I saw him dive to the inside. He's got everybody passing him now.
Well, new leaders Martin Truex Jr. out first on the pit stops, was a lap down earlier. Second unscheduled green flag pit stop of the race for the championship leading team. The 19-year-old from Forest Park, Georgia, takes his second NASCAR Busch Series win. Sorensen winning the Wallace Family Tribute. A look at the ups and downs of last Saturday night's NASCAR Busch Series race that resulted in championship leader Martin Truex Jr. basically losing half of his point lead. It was 142 points going into the St. Louis race. Now Clint Bowyer just 70 behind. Reed Sorensen a close third. And we talked already with all three, all starting near the front of the pack tonight with Sorensen on pole. And we welcome you to TNT's coverage of tonight's NASCAR Busch Series race from Indianapolis Raceway Park. Alan Bestwick here with Benny Parsons, and BP and I have been talking back and forth about this race and what we were looking for tonight. And Benny, you think tires versus track position is going to be the big deal?
Track position is going to be king. We talked to Clint Boyer just a moment ago. He said it's difficult to pass here. It is difficult to pass. These guys get a chance to pit. They're just going to bypass pit road, stay out on the racetrack. They'll pit one time tonight and one time only. They'll not be back in that second time, because if they do, they'll just not be able to work their way back to the front.
I know some crew chiefs I talked to are going to try and pit twice tonight. We'll see how it works out. The other thing we're thinking about, the 3 Ps: passing, patience, and paybacks.
See, that's the problem. Those guys that pit twice, they'll have to start so far back that when they try to fight their way through, they got to run over some people to do it, and there will be paybacks from those guys they run over trying to get to the front.
Yeah, we may see a few tempers boiling over by the end of the night. Not unusual for one of these short track races here at IRP. The drivers are all buckled in now. Down trackside, the various dignitaries are gathering by the start-finish line, ready to utter those famous words that all these fans have been waiting hours to hear.
Right there on the big screen.
They came up with this elaborate thing here. They wanted the kids from the Children's Hospital to give the command to start engines, but none of the drivers heard it. You heard it at home. Now they've got the word. The best made plans, huh?
They often go astray.
Yeah. Stacy Compton ready. And these fans ready too.
I'm interested. Reed Sorensen talked about, he and Strimmy talking about which side should he start the race, on the outside or inside, the traditional spot that the pole sitter would start.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see which one he chooses. Normally, the fastest qualifier here will start on the outside, because that is the preferred line.
And it is a fairly well-known but often rarely employed rule in the book that the pole sitter does have the option. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for tonight's race. Sorensen on pole, whether he starts inside or outside to be seen here momentarily. Robert Presley returned to the Busch Series in a great qualifying run.
Outside of row 2 alongside Hornaday in the 32 car. And how about Tracy Hines, infrequent driver, back in row 3 alongside Jason Keller.
Hines driving for Ray Ebernham here tonight. There are your championship first and second place drivers. Truex there in row 5 and Boyer in row 4.
How about Aaron Fike outside of row 10? Kenny Wallace with his new sponsor on his car in row 6.
Fike, one of those guys that has a lot of laps in open wheel racing on this racetrack, so pretty comfortable for him. Tony Stewart, row 9. Another guy, a lot of laps here.
My guess is Tony Stewart will be going towards the front. J.J. Yeley, Justin Labonte. See Mike Wallace, Tim Sauter on the outside of row 12.
Mike driving for Brother Rusty's team here in IRP tonight. Joel Kaufman, new name to the series, 19 years old. You'll hear more about him later on in the night, but another one of these kids looks barely old enough to shave.
First NASCAR Busch Series start. Yeah. Steve Grissom, Boston Reed, one of the Hendrick drivers, back in row 15.
There's Carl Edwards. Didn't make out very well over at the Brickyard with his qualifying for tomorrow's All-State 400 at the Brickyard. Then came over here and drew an early number and didn't fare as well in the heat of the afternoon qualifying here either.
Starting 31st with Carl Edwards, and might be a guy that has to have some patience as he tries to work his way toward the front.
His crew chief Brad Parrish never been shy with the strategy gambits either, huh?
No. Paul Wolf, Kevin Hamlin, one of the Ganassi development drivers, back in row 19.
Tyler Walker in row 20 blew the engine on his second qualifying lap. They had about an hour and 45 minutes to race time. They started taking the engine out of the car, got it put back together. The car's on the grid in time. He's ready to go.
And 43rd spot, Brian Tyler out of Michigan.
Former couple-time USAC National Sprint Car Champion. As always, more cars here than spots in the field can be accommodated. So there are the list of those who failed to qualify. I told you about Tyler Walker's problems with the engine change. He'll go to the back. And A.J. Fike's team made an unapproved post-impound adjustment.
So we had to go from 41st to 42nd.
Yeah, big loss there,
yes.
Right? I think I'd do that too. rolling off on the pace laps, but they don't take long on this little track. So let's get right to pit road and get our final stories before the green flag. First to Ralph Sheheen.
Well, Alan, I talked to David Stremme just moments ago before the start of this race, and he will start on the outside as it turns out now. In row number 1, Reed Sorensen will move to the bottom. And David said this is the best short track car I've ever had. It was built brand new for the race in Milwaukee. They also ran it at Pikes Peak and Gateway. And he really feels this car is like a good pair of shoes. He's so comfortable with it. He says, I can win just about anywhere. He almost did that at Gateway a week ago. Maybe he'll do it here tonight. Lindsay?
Thank you, Ralph. I'm in the number 32 pit stall of Ron Hornaday Jr. You can see that his crew is working hard here because Ron has decided he's going for a little triple crown of his own. Last night, he came in 3rd at the truck race. Tonight, he starts 3rd here in the Busch Series. And he says that if he could finish at least 3rd tonight, he would be happy. He also told me that last night he learned plenty of good secrets about what kind of adjustments he thinks he might need to make to win here.
Lindsay, thanks. So we get a couple of more pace laps before we go. VP, one of the tricks to this racetrack, you see how flat those corners are. The fast lane. The fast lane is up by the outside wall.
That's right.
And so the guys on the bottom have some tough conditions there.
And so far, we've seen the 41 car on the inside. Sorensen seems to have chosen the inside to start this race. And you're right, when he goes down in turn 1 with too much speed, he'll carry up and slide into the side of the 14.
If you want to try and pass somebody, you got to crank the car down onto the flatter part of the racetrack. That's harder on the tires. You can only do that for so many laps in a row. And the other thing is you might have to lean on that guy outside of you to keep from piling up into the wall when you head into the corner.
You said at the very top of the show, sparks will fly.
Yeah.
We will see some sparks flying.
Yes, we will. Our race analysis tonight, 200 laps on the track that measures a little better than 0.6 of a mile. And the pit window number looks a little different than we might normally show you. That's not a fuel mileage number.
No, because as soon as they get to lap 80, they can pit and they won't pit again. They'll be in front when all the rest of the cars pit, and they'll try to get that track position to stay there.
So one more pace lap before we go green here at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Check that. They're showing them 2 to go here. Looks like they're going to add another lap before we go racing. Benny, this race has been going on since 1982, since the NASCAR Busch Series was formed. And the people in the Midwest here just turn out long before there was an Nextel Cup race over at the big track, if you will. These fans were showing up to see NASCAR racing here.
Well, we had crowds like this. We've been coming here 24 years. We've always had huge crowds here. And we've been going to the Brickyard, what now, 11 years now?
Yeah, this will be the 12th tomorrow, yeah.
So, and they're sitting in the grass.
Yep.
That's a common thing here at IRP.
Yep, throw a blanket up on the hillside. Those people were here when the gates opened earlier today to throw that blanket up on the hillside and reserve their space. A lot of people over at the big track for Bud Pole qualifying earlier today, making the drive up Crawfordsville Road and under I-465 to come out here tonight and see this race, sort of a little summer speed week, if you will, at the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series here last night. I think the thing I like best about this race, and I've been coming here for quite some time, the action is always intense. there's never been a snoozer here that I could recall.
No. Because there's going to be someone racing side by side around the racetrack. It may not be for the lead.
Yeah.
But there will be someone back there side by side. All right, here we go. Next time by, green flag, got in turn 1. Sorensen get those 5 bonus points that he wants so badly. Hornaday back in the 3rd position. There he is in the 32 car. That's Tracy Hines right behind him. Jason Keller, 35.
And the championship contenders just behind them. Boyer and Truex Jr. 200 laps around this .686 mile oval. Sorensen and Stremme, the fight for the lead into turn 1. Sorensen seems to believe he's going to get the corner. Let's see.
And Stremme was good to his word. He did give Sorensen room to go down in turn 1.
Look how tight these cars are.
5 bonus points for the championship for Reed Sorensen. That's Paul Menard in 11, digging down underneath Kenny Wallace.
Kenny Hamlin in the 20 car, trying to make his way forward.
Hamlin underneath Clint Boyer at 7th place.
And Truex back in the 8 car watching this battle. Kenny Hamlin makes that. That was very impressive, being able to pass on the bottom the way he did.
Yeah, Benny talked to Hamlin earlier just after he made his qualifying lap, and he really was excited about this race car.
Check out Truex, just dove on the inside of Boyer, could not make the pass. Wise, it just pulls back behind him.
Here's our race for 3rd.
See Tracy Hines in 6. Gets by Hornaday in 32.
Jason Keller 35, right down on the flat. And he's going to pick up a spot from Robert Presley. That's going to be 5th. Keller's won this race twice before.
And you can see Denny Hamlin riding along with him off turn 2. Lindsay, has he said anything about the 20 car yet?
He's being awfully quiet on the radio, but I was able to hop in the truck with both Denny and Martin Truex Jr. when they were going around for driver introduction. Denny was saying he just really, really wants that top 10 finish. Last week I got to talk to him at Gateway, and he said that's where he finished 11th. He just really wants that confidence factor, and he thinks this is a track where he can get it.
Well, so far so good, Lindsay, that's for sure.
David Green on the move down low.
And Ashton Lewis, the Marines, trying to charge to the front. Ashton on the inside. Paul Menard, the 11 car, and David Green, as you said, in the 27. A great battle.
It's 11th place there, VP. David's been on a really great roll.
He sure has. A great win for him in Colorado a couple weeks ago.
Followed that up with a top 5 finish last week in St. Louis after a really difficult first half of the season where he only got 1 top 10 for a guy that's a former series champion.
Aaron Fike in 66 and 25 of Ashton Lewis trying to get by. Couldn't quite make it. You can see just how difficult it is to get that grip on the bottom of the racetrack to drive up alongside that fellow on the outside. David Green has a very good race car, but he just can't find enough grip down there to make the pass.
And so he continues to run behind Menard in 12th place. Well, Stremme said that Sorensen could have the first quarter, and Sorensen said if he got up and was knocking on the back bumper, he'd let him go. Right now, he's not knocking on the bumper.
He can't catch the 41 car.
There's the gap first to second. You see the 58 car of Reagan Smith heading for pit road. Early unscheduled stop for him.
Jason Keller 35, Ron Hornaday 32. Battle for the 4th position.
Keller looks good, huh?
He does. He really does look good. As you said, he runs this racetrack. Has always performed well here at IRP.
Talked to Jason today. Jason's had a really tough season. I mean, a really tough season. And I talked to him today. He had the biggest smile on his face. He said, I've been looking for a car that feels like this all year. And I got it tonight.
That was impressive. I even turned left down the middle of the corner and drove up on the inside of the 32, but he just can't get the traction that he needs without driving up and banging into the side of the 32 car. Ralph, some of these guys look like they're pretty good, and some of them are struggling with their setup.
Well, that's exactly right, Benny. And the common terminology we're hearing a lot of here tonight is tight in the center. Can't get the car to turn, and then I'm very loose coming off the corner. One of the trick terms that we're hearing now to fix that problem is something the pit crews are calling hillbilly. Now, what they want to do is get more spring rate on the left front as opposed to the right front. The more travel you have with the spring gives it more a term the crews are talking about tonight.
Well, Ralph, I must be a real hillbilly because that's a trick that I used many, many years ago to get my car to turn better in the middle, was put stronger left front spring in it. But that was before the aerodynamic days of cars we see today.
You used the term hillbilly, and it didn't involve banjo music.
How about Keller? Got the spot.
Yep. On the move, so Jason Keller to fourth. And your leader beginning to feel a little heat from behind as they get into some lap traffic. Stremme closing in on Sorensen. So 15 laps of 200 in the books early in the going at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Reed Sorensen is the leader. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. NASCAR Busch Series racing from Indianapolis Raceway Park is brought to you by Smooth Busch Beer and Easy Drinking Busch Light. Busch, the proud sponsor of the NASCAR Busch Series. By Aqua Velva. Keep your face toned and fit. There's something about an Aqua Velva man. And by Capital One. What's in your wallet? Beautiful night outside of Indianapolis, Indiana. Beautiful night for Reed Sorensen, last weekend's winner in the NASCAR Busch Series in St. Louis, out in front after winning the pole for tonight's race earlier this afternoon. There's the gap from Sorensen back to David Stremme.
0.8 of a second back to the 14 car. Both these cars at St. Louis, the last race, went extremely well. Looks like the 14 might have a shot at winning, have a flat tire. 41 took advantage with a win.
About a check on the championship leader, Martin Truex. He's in some pretty heavy traffic. He has been passed.
Oh, they're 3 wide in front of him. Oh, boy.
He got passed by Clint Boyer for 6th place. This in traffic a minute ago.
He gets in the back of the 46 car and had to jump out of the throttle quickly. And when you jump out of the throttle that quickly, it wants to upset the car. And he's lucky that the 2 car, Clint Boyer, didn't run in the back of him. Watch this. Oh, it's so close. Boyer was paying attention.
And yet able to take advantage and pick up a spot. So Boyer is up to 6th. Truex is back to 7th. And they have shuffled Ron Hornaday back to 8th place. He started in 3rd.
Tell you what, Boyer is running a much, of course, he has to run at the lower line as he tries to pass the 46 car of Robert Presley. But he's making this lower line work pretty doggone well for him.
If you want to pass them, you got to go where they're not, right? Or you got to move them from where they are, one of the two. And we'll see that before the night's out tonight, too.
Jason Keller, 35 car, just gets by Tracy Hines, take over the 3rd spot.
It's been a while since Jason Keller's won. July 2003 at the Milwaukee Mile.
Lindsay, he's loving it, isn't he?
He's loving it. And you know what, Alan, you said earlier that when you talked to him, he had a huge smile on his face. That's because he described it to me before as funny. He said this is a backup car that we have had all season long. No one thought to bring it out because we had another car we came down here and tested with, but it was awful. It was terrible. So they got out the backup, and he was all smiles today.
Crew chief, for the guys that hang the bodies on those cars might not be all smiles because it looks like that right rear quarter panel's a little ripped up.
He's had some contact with someone back behind the right rear tire. That's for sure.
I'm loving it. You worked that in so smoothly.
He is. He's loving it.
How about Tony Stewart?
It's a James Dean car.
Started 17th. He's up to 14th. Ralph trying to make his way to the front.
Right now, Alan, Tony Stewart's a little quiet on the radio. The car is a little loose center off, which, Denny, as we were talking earlier, is a little bit different than what a lot of the guys are saying. Usually it's loose way out onto the exit. Tony's getting a little loose more to the center of the corner. That's usually where most of the guys are tight.
He might have tried too much hillbilly in that car, and that's too big a left front spring.
At the Kevin Harvick Incorporated entry that Tony Stewart is driving tonight. He drove for them earlier in this season. Reed Sorensen, the race leader, led all 31 laps so far, just completing lap 32. Beginning to work some pretty heavy lap traffic as well. He's put a full second on 2nd place running David Stremme. Indianapolis Raceway Park and NASCAR Busch Series racing on TNT. Reed Sorensen from the Atlanta area, star of the show so far. And our Wendy's race menu, we've got a lot of stars going to be featured tomorrow in the Allstate 400 at the Brickyard.
400 miles at the great Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
NBC 2 Eastern Time, our Wendy's race menu. Sorensen in some pretty heavy lap traffic.
Well, he is. As a matter of fact, this traffic that he's running through, the lap traffic that he's running behind, has allowed second place, third place, all these cars to catch up.
Check the gap from Sorensen back to Stremme, give you the picture of what is first back to second. There's Sorensen in the 41, and there is Stremme in the car with that big Navy logo across the hood, the 14. And Lindsay has an update on both the first and second place runners.
I do. Thanks, guys. You know, there were a lot of people coming up to Reed Sorensen right before the race saying happy anniversary. That's because this is the first Busch Series race here at IRP that Reed ran last year, a year ago. He started that race third, finished 13th. He's been exceptionally quiet here tonight, and his crew tells me when it's quiet, that's a good thing. That means that Reed is focused and he's thinking. As for David Stremme in the number 14 car, he got on the radio a little bit ago to his crew chief, Randy Cox, said he was feeling tight in the corners. And Stremme, of course, is a local guy. He's from about an hour away from here in Indiana. And so he said he has a lot of friends, a lot of family here, really hopes to do well. And I also want to add that these guys are getting a little bit concerned down here on pit road because it has started to sprinkle. In fact, we're right near a pond, and you can see the drops consistently coming down. So a lot of folks down here are looking and waiting and hoping that doesn't increase.
Yeah, that's not good.
We'll go on board the Denny Hamlin, the 20 car, and so far I don't see any raindrop.
Yeah, I see a little bit over there, don't I?
Let's see if we can see on the left side of the Kenny Wallace car.
Well, obviously it's pretty light. I mean, it's not enough to really cover the windshield, so the drivers are still steaming along here, and we stay under the green.
Oh, here we go now. Here we go. That's the leader, and that's the traffic.
First of all, I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen a caution yet, but when the leader comes up to start putting a lot of guys a lap down, sometimes we see people force the issue.
That's when you see that lack of patience we talked about. We talked about patience. Well, this is lack of. It's Brent Sherman in the 10 car. He does not, he and the 36 car, Stan Barrett, they do not want this 41 to get by them. That puts them a lap down and really takes any chance of a good finish out the window.
In the meantime, there's your leader sitting there wondering which lane's going to open up.
Man, Brian Patty has that 41 car working well, doesn't he?
Yeah. No surprise.
No. He and Reed Sorensen, since they teamed up, have been a very, very strong team. Brian Patty's a crew chief on 41.
Look at this. Clint Boyer on the move.
About
this is
that.
Second place.
Man, he is marched by the Tracy Hines car, the Jason Kellen car, and now by the 14 of Stremme to take over second spot.
Clint Boyer started 8th.
And he's doing it by being able to run the bottom of the racetrack. It looks like he has by far the best car down low.
That's the tough way around here. Clint Boyer picking up his first win in the NASCAR Busch Series back at Nashville Super Speedway. What, 2 months ago or so, back in June.
And look at this. Look how much distance he's been on Stremme just in this lap or so we've been watching him. Because Stremme can't run that bottom nearly as well as Boyer. And check it out, right behind the leader, Sorensen. Oh, contact.
Somebody say something about forcing the issue a little while ago?
For the lead, Boyer goes underneath the 41 car, and is he running down there all the time?
Yeah.
I haven't seen him on top yet. He takes the lead. What a terrific run for Boyer.
1/4 distance, first lead change on the night as Clint Boyer eases by Reed Sorensen. They're still hung up behind the Brent Sherman car. Sherman trying to stay as the last car on the lead lap.
Now Stremme about to lose the third spot to Jason Keller. Stremme in 14, Keller in 35. But you see, I mean, all these cars are struggling on the bottom of the racetrack except the two of Boyer.
finally, the leader, Clint Boyer, gets by the lap car of Brent Sherman, well within his rights, by the way, to try and stay on the lead lap.
Here's the battle for the lead just a moment ago, right alongside with Clint Boyer. And Sorensen at 41 knew it was over. You know, he knew there was nothing much he could do.
Well, BP, our first caution's not for what we expected it to be.
Rain?
Yes, sir.
Oh, there I see the rain.
Yep.
Falling on some people's heads here in Indianapolis.
Just picked up. I just saw a rustle in the grandstands a minute ago of people reaching for the coats and the cover, and starter Kevin Moss reached for the yellow flag and put it out over the field. So first yellow of the race, lap 52 of 200. Clint Boyer is the leader. We will take a break and come back to Indianapolis Raceway Park in a minute. Back at Indianapolis Raceway Park as the rain has brought out the caution flag for the first time on the night.
And unbelievably to me, all the leaders pitted. Every car, I think, on the lead lap made a pit stop. Just 50 laps into the race.
We didn't expect to see anybody on pit road until we got a lot closer to halfway. Maybe the weather's changed their thinking. Maybe they're thinking we might not see a full 200 laps.
Well, that could be.
Clint Boyer holds the lead on the pit stops. And we will take you back and show you the stops that happened here just a minute ago.
To the right front tire changer. Having some trouble on that right front. Hey, Ralph, what happened on the right front? Do you know?
Well, Benny, with the 2 car on the right front, he said he got into Martin Truex just a little bit with that right front and affected that a little bit. But he says the car is sticking beautifully on the bottom all day long. They brought him in, put tires on him, put sticker tires on him, and got him back out. Now, as far as the 8 car Martin Truex goes, he's been battling that traditional problem, Benny, that we said at the beginning of the night they were going to have. Tight in the center, loose off. I don't know if they're working that hillbilly setup on that car just right now. They did make an air pressure adjustment on the 8 car, but they didn't say much more than that. Serviced the 8 and got him back out.
And we see the front tire changer having trouble on the 8 car as well.
NASCAR is showing the black flag to Tony Stewart. His number's the one that's posted up on the board. We'll follow up on that in just a minute, figure out what's up there. First, how about the leader, the former leader, Reed Sorensen's pit stop, Lindsay?
Reed Sorensen is still being extremely quiet on the radio, but they brought his car in. They gave him 4 fresh tires, gave him some fuel. They made a slight chassis adjustment, but they feel like the car is doing exactly what they want it to right now, and he's hoping to get a win this time around.
So right now, Sorensen sitting in 5th position. Mark Green has not pitted under the caution, so he's the leader for the moment. And you caught a glimpse of Tony Stewart dropping down onto the pit lane to serve whatever penalty he has been assessed. So we'll follow up on that when we come back to Indianapolis Raceway Park. Stewart on pit road for a penalty. Mark Green the leader, followed by Clint Boyer. And that ugly wet stuff falling on a racetrack. It's a coming down here at Indianapolis Raceway Park, and the field is being slowed. They will be put under the red flag momentarily. Tony Stewart had a problem on his pit stop, and Ralph's going to tell us what happened.
Well, Alan, was a missing lug nut on the left front. That's what they caught Tony Stewart for, so that was the reason for the black flag. Just 1 missing lug nut on the left front.
But NASCAR rules, you got to have 20 of them. 5 on each wheel.
And it's going to drop Tony from 5th place down to 31st as the field gets ready to stop for the red flag. We will take a break. It's raining here at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Tonight's NASCAR Busch Series race with 59 of 200 laps complete. Back at Indianapolis Raceway Park, where the red flag has just been issued over tonight's NASCAR Busch Series race. We remind you that tomorrow at 2 Eastern on NBC, the Allstate 400 at the Brickyard. Coverage beginning with Bank of America Countdown to Green. Elliott Sadler to lead the field to the green flag.
Yeah, they said when Elliott Sadler tested up at the Brickyard a couple of weeks ago that he was extremely fast. So the fact he's on the pole, not a shock.
Yep, and Sadler will have the top spot. Jeremy Mayfield, Michael Waltrip, Casey Kane, and Brian Vickers rounding out the top 5 starters.
See, now that guy understands it's raining. Those fans didn't seem to understand it was raining. They had no umbrellas. Or see, there you go.
They might not be.
Folks, it's raining.
I was about to say they might not be allowed to bring him into the grandstands, but there's one.
Yep, smart guy.
I think those fans are probably a lot like me. I did not expect precipitation tonight. I mean, there's always the summertime chance of showers thing, but I didn't see this coming. The weather rock was not on display.
I understand.
Red flag, Ralph. What do you got?
Hi, Alan. This is the one job in TV I hate to do, the weatherman report. And we've all done it. Any of us has ever worked a race. Well, here's the radar screen in the back of the NASCAR Busch hauler. There's Indianapolis and that target up top there. See what that is? Green. Green means wet, means rain, and we're right smack in the middle of it because IRP is pretty much not far from downtown Indianapolis. So kind of really hard to tell if this thing's getting better or worse. I can tell you the sky got real dark, real black, and it got real wet. So we're just going to have to ride this out for a little while and see if that big blob of green moves east, west, north, or south. I don't care which direction it goes as long as it's out of here.
Well, I feel so sorry for these fans. They come here all pumped up to see a great race, 200 laps. We've done the Busch Series, and they leave wet.
Just over a quarter of it done, so it is not an official race. And this one will have to wait a while.
Our camera guys, they have rain gear on, so they're probably still getting wet. Guys, I'm sorry about that.
They've all been doing this for a while. They come prepared. Camera guys are like postmen. Neither rain nor snow nor gloom of night, that kind of thing.
Yes. See, we got a tent there, and it won't hold but about one more person.
Yep. And it's got to be aggravating for the drivers, too. You talked about these fans, but, you know, these drivers get all charged up to go for 200 laps, and they get a quarter distance into it, and right now they are sitting and having to wait it out. I know you do this long enough, you get used to it, and there's nothing you can do, but that doesn't make it any less frustrating.
See drivers.
Is that Mike Wallace?
Yep.
If that's Mike. Yeah, okay, we just got enough of a glimpse of it. That is Mike Wallace. Walking back with the team's public relations representative towards some place where they can seek shelter. The team transporters are not in the infield here at this racetrack because of the sight lines for the fans, so they can't go hide there.
So there is no place to go seek shelter
yet. Red flag for rain at Indianapolis Raceway Park in the Kroger 200. We'll come back with more live coverage on TNT in just a minute. An unfortunate summer rain shower has swamped the Indianapolis Raceway Park, putting tonight's NASCAR Busch Series race under the red flag after 59 of the 200 scheduled laps. I assume these fans are expecting the race to be restarted as we are.
Well, a good thing is happening as you're speaking, Alan. The safety vehicles have pulled from the infield onto the racetrack to start the drying procedure. That tells me that NASCAR must feel like the end of this shower is somewhere close by.
Yeah.
Or they're trying to trick us all, one or the other.
Well, we've seen a lot of this over the years, and so it would not surprise me at all if this blows on out of here and we get this thing dried up and going again. I guess the advantage to having such a short track is it won't take them as long to dry.
No, exactly. You know, at Indy, at the big racetrack, 2.5 miles, you might be talking about 2 hours.
Yeah.
But here you got something 1/5 the size. Might be able to get it dry in 30, 40 minutes.
Well, while we wait it out, let's talk to some of the drivers who were competing in the race before the rains hit, and we go to Ralph Shaheen.
Well, one of those drivers who's having a pretty good run is Jason Keller. Jason, your car was really hooked up, it seemed like, early on. How good was it from inside the cockpit?
It's really good. You know, Pat was telling me my lap times, and it was, you know, I was about 2/10 faster than the leader, and then a 2 came out of nowhere. It kind of caught me by surprise, but car's really good. Unfortunately, we had a little miscue on that last pit stop, on that first pit stop, and put us in a hole. I think we came out 12th, so got a big hole to dig out of, but got a really, really fast car, and we've been struggling of late, so it's nice to have a fast race car. You can get up there and battle for that top 3, and we can dig ourselves out of this hole, and now we need all the laps. Now we need it to stop raining, but 95, when I won here, actually it was about the same condition. You know, we ran about 40 laps, and it rained, and then we went on to run the race, and I won my first race here in 95, so hopefully it's the same thing, and I know Deb and the kids are watching back home. Hopefully this rain gets out of here, so I'm supposed to go on vacation tomorrow, so I don't need to spend another day here, but got a really fast race car. We just got to dig ourselves out of this hole.
When you got that first win and it had rained and then you went back to racing, what did the track do to allow you to win? Did it get better for you? And if so, why? What does it do?
Well, our car just started working a little bit better, turning a little bit better, just cools off, and I think if I can race head-to-head with a 2 tonight, I think I got a shot at him. He caught me there in lap traffic, so I got equally as good a race car that I won with here in 95, so hopefully the same results.
Well, with another soggy driver, here's Lindsay.
Thanks. It's the soggy Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin is a rookie, never been here to IRP, so this is quite a welcome for you. Hey, you started 7th. You're now back to 14th. What was it that happened?
I got to the outside of Robert Presley, and it kind of ran out of room coming off turn 2, and it's hard to really see the wall there. So got squeezed up in the outside wall, and it's bent something on the front end. I'm not sure. So I don't know. We made some adjustments here and try to compensate for it. So hopefully it'll be a little better.
You said that you might be able to use this rain brake to your advantage. How so?
Well, you know, it just gives us an opportunity to calm down and kind of think of what we need to do to fix the car, and whether we decide to come back in and maybe adjust the toe or just kind of fix it with chassis setup. You know, that's the best we can do, and there's not a whole lot of laps in this race, so we're just gonna have to get where we can.
Thanks, Denny. Go dry yourself off, guys.
There'll be a lot of that happening down there.
Wait a minute, he took her umbrella. Lindsay, did he leave you with an umbrella?
I think she's okay.
Do you see me?
Yeah,
oh,
there
okay.
you go.
I've got my own, but now my awesome spotter is without an umbrella. So what's the problem? You guys can run one down to us, right?
Oh, no, that's okay.
No.
There he goes.
I think that was probably his.
Well, yeah, that was his. But I'm worried about Lindsay. Now I'm worried about Walter or John or whoever their spotter was.
Yeah. Well, they came prepared anyway. But there's an umbrella around there anywhere, because I don't know about you, but I don't have one with me, so I'm kind of glad I'm up here where it is dry for the moment. Hendrick Motorsports crew waiting it out. And a lot of these fans still trying to file down under the grandstands to find a little bit of shelter, as the sky really opened up here and dumped a lot of water in a very short time.
And it's still raining, but it looks to me like it, well, I don't know. I'm not out in it, so I was almost say it's slowed down some since. Well, never mind. Just never mind.
I'm thinking of a race I went to one time, probably the race I sat through the longest rain delay. It was won by a certain Benny Parsons.
Charlotte, 1980,
Yes,
600 miles
sir,
with
yeah.
2 rain delays.
7.5 hours to run the race.
Exactly.
And that wasn't a night race then, folks. We sat about 3 or 4 rows up from the bottom on the old concrete grandstands before they redid them there at Charlotte, and 90-degree heat and then pouring down rain, and then 90-degree heat and pouring down rain, and in the end, I watched old BP here and Darrell Waltrip slug it out for the last 100 miles.
So that was before you were rich, huh? Back when you wasn't in the suites like you are now and all that stuff. You're back.
That was when I was a paying race fan. Jack Roush has come over here to watch his team's race tonight, and I think Ralph's caught up with him.
Yeah, Alan, you know, what do you do the night before the Brickyard 400? Well, you come over here and you get in a battle of umbrellas with a pit reporter, and you're the bigger name, Jack, so you win. Okay, how'd the cars do over the big track today?
Well, we think we're ready to race. You know, Carl Edwards had trouble. We ran over something on the racetrack and blew out a tire with about 6 laps on it. Lost a primary car, which had tested better than the backup car at when we were down here for testing. But so he's a disappointment in terms of losing his good car. But it's a long race, and he'll have a chance to recover from it. I'm sure that the information he gets from the other guys would be helpful. You know, it's an inbound race, and anybody that's got themselves organized for a short run that isn't conscious of or doesn't have the setup in it that's going to make it go for a long run, they're not going to last long. So my guys, to a man, are all confident that their cars will hang for the long run, and doesn't matter where we start. It's fine.
I can hear it in your voice, and I can see it in your eyes. You look like you're a little under the weather. How bad off are you?
Well, I've got a summer cold that came on me. We've been doing some Identify or Find Driver X Race for the Ride for Discovery Channel that's going to air this October, starting in October. And so we've been doing that at Martinsville. I spent 2.5 days in 105-degree weather with a cold, and this rain is not helping.
Yeah, but he's a true dedicated racer. He's here once again watching his cars go around in a circle. Lindsay?
Thank you, Ralph. I'm here with David Green. David was running 7th. This is the same car that you won at Pikes Peak, same car you did well with last week. What is it about this machine?
Must be the car. Stewart and them guys built this car back for Richmond, and it's been very good everywhere we took it. I was a little hesitant in bringing it here because I knew we'd beat the sides off of it, but they promised me they could put it back together. But our car was good in practice today, and just missed a little bit there on qualifying, had to start 15th, but man, it's a lot of fun passing all those cars, and my Marsh Kleenex Ford is really running around the bottom good. I'm a little loose off, and we'll fix that just a little bit, but I don't want to take all that away because it's turning pretty good down the bottom. But I don't know where this rain came from all of a sudden, but hopefully we can get it dried off and get going again.
You could use a lot of Kleenex with this rain.
Shop towels and shop rags and all those good products. But I'm pretty excited. This car's working good, and we've been on a great little roll here in the last month, and I hope it never ends here. But thanks to Kleenex and all their supporters, Marsh here. Today we hopefully can win this 200-lap race here for Marsh.
David, what do you tell the rookies? Because I know you spend a lot of time with them. So how do you describe IRP for someone that has never seen it?
Well, first of all, each week I talk to guys like Carl Edwards and Reed Sorensen, and those guys are far from being rookies. But, I think the biggest thing right here is it's a real wide racetrack, but only a small portion you can use at the top. And as you try to pass people on the bottom, it's very, very easy to squeeze a guy into the wall and exit. And it really comes up tight on you. So that's the only thing I really told them. And other than that, it's a tricky little place, and that's about all you can say about it.
And your momentum, you're hoping to roll on tonight, aren't you?
Well, we sure hope so. We hope we can get it going right here. And it's nothing like last night. Dennis Setzer put on a show, and I was hoping tonight we'd run green the whole time. And it looks like we were going to have a long green run here till the rain came. So hopefully the cautions will be without us tonight. We can keep our little Kleenex Marsh Ford up front and have some fun here and race those guys.
Thanks, David. Don't take my umbrella, but we'll see you later. Ralph?
Lindsay, I don't know. When you're the points leader of the Busch Series, I think you'd have a bigger umbrella than that, Martin Truex. What's the story on this pretty small umbrella?
I don't know.
At least it's got the sponsor logo on it. That's a good thing.
At least it's got Bass Pro on. I can use it as a hat. That's the cool part.
How's the car?
It's not bad. Real loose off the corner. No forward bite at all, but it seems like we're better than most, so it's a good thing. The 2 was really strong. I felt like we were catching everybody but him, so made some adjustments on our pit stop, and hopefully we made it better. Just real proud of Bo and all the guys. They done a good job with the car. Wasn't real happy with it today in practice, and they done some good adjustments to it, and it's driving pretty good right now.
Will the rain, do you think, hurt or help the setup the way you have it right now?
I don't think it's going to do much to anybody. I think it's just going to have more grip on the track. It's not going to be so slick, so it might help me for a little while. But eventually, by the end of the race, it's going to get back to where it was, and so we're going to need to be better.
Well, I know you got that big contract done with DEI. Did you work in a bigger umbrella for next year?
No, not yet, but maybe I'll have to look into that.
Talk to Junior about that. Would you get that fixed? You think they could get a points leader a big umbrella, Alan?
Yeah. I talked to Martin earlier today, and he is qualified for tomorrow's All-State 400 at the Brickyard. Had a busy day, but he's thrilled.
That guy's beer's getting rained on because he had his cooler top on his head. There's a cushion on his head, a chair. Man, oh man.
Whatever works.
Popcorn boxes.
No, that's not a Shriners convention.
No.
Yeah. Seat cushions. And then some people that have said it's too late. I'm soaking wet already anyway.
I guess if I was down there, I'd be doing the same thing.
So where's the stuff that was in the coolers?
It's not on the ground, I'll tell you that.
Okay. Red and a conventional umbrella, finally. Red flag for rain here at Indianapolis Raceway Park after 59 of 200 laps. NASCAR Busch Series racing from Indianapolis Raceway Park is brought to you by Home 123, the official mortgage company of NASCAR. Enter the Home 123 Pay Off Your Mortgage sweepstakes today at home123.com. By Ballpark Franks. Be big, be meaty, be frank. And by Allstate, proud sponsor of the Allstate 400 at the Brickyard. Well, the fans are hanging in, and the weather's lightening up, and we're hoping it quits completely here shortly. The rain, that is, and we can get the track drying equipment out there, the rest of it, and get this NASCAR Busch Series 200 lapper back underway. In fact, BP, as I speak, they're rolling the jet dryers toward the track down inside turns 1 and 2.
All right, good. When those babies go on the racetrack, You feel like something's going to be done.
Something
the same
good
try.
happening. There
Right.
you go. All right, let's check with Lindsay.
Hey guys, Randy LaJoy will be back out there. He's in 25th position right now. You're racing with a very heavy heart, though, you tell me, because one of your team owners, NFL Hall of Famer Jim Kelly, his son passed away yesterday. Tell me what you guys are doing to honor Hunter.
Well, you know, huntershope.org is a foundation that Jim and his wife Jill have come up with. When Hunter was diagnosed with a Krabbe-Leukodystrophy, they didn't diagnose it quick enough. The life expectancy was 14 months. Hunter lived till he was 8.5 years old. So through Jim's organization, there's a lot of kids out there that have benefited, that have that same disease that they located a lot earlier. Through Jim's going through Senate, going to the White House, they have made screening a lot easier and a lot more for kids to find out if they have that disease. It just helps kids, you know. It's amazing what Jim and his family has gone through with Hunter. Jim says Hunter was his hero. And, you know, I was with him Monday at Dollar General headquarters. He was a guest speaker. And for somebody to be Jim Kelly's hero, I mean, somebody brings the Buffalo Bills to the quarterback Super Bowl 4 times. I mean, Hunter was amazing. And it's just too bad. But, you know, there's a lot more kids out there that have benefited through huntershope.org. It's a wonderful organization. I got 2 healthy kids at home. And it's just terrible to see parents have to go through this.
So, Randy, a win today would probably be so much more poignant than for you. Tell me about the car and what you think your chances are.
I got a heavy steering wheel also. Not only do I got a heavy heart, the steering wheel's pretty heavy. Dollar General Chevrolet, we're about 2/10 off of where we need to be. We're working on it. We're continuing to work on it. This is a car that you know, we raced at Dover, and it was decent there. And time-wise, we're about 2/10 off. We've just made some changes. Hopefully we'll get to about a 10th off, and we'll get a 10th off, get some spots in the pits, and we could come out of here with a top 10. I would love to win this race for Jim, Dollar General, myself, all the race fans out there. But there's some fast cars out front, and you know, we're just gonna keep working. We started this program late, and Dollar General come on board, and we're digging. You know, these other guys ain't waiting for us. We can't tell those guys to stop and give us 6 months that we need to catch up. But we're digging every day to Dollar General team.
And it looks like Randy might get his chance at a win fairly soon. Ralph?
Lindsay, I'm about to do quite possibly the scariest thing I've ever done on television. I'm our pit producer. No, that's not scary. That's just not usual. But our pit producer, Shifty, wants me to give a live microphone to Tony Stewart. So you can now talk to Alan and Benny, and I'll just stand here.
The reason they are doing that is because they realize that I have 10 times the talent you have as a broadcaster.
Oh,
I mean, it's,
wow.
You spend more time with hair care products and a hairbrush. And
I'm not the one with the color in my hair.
Well, yeah, I'm just trying to look younger. I don't color it like you do.
I don't have to look younger, see.
You just color yours.
I'm already 10 years younger than you. And
all right, let's just talk racing stuff, because this.
Good.
He's going to do an Avita commercial here tomorrow, probably.
All right.
All right.
Tonight,
yes.
How's the car?
It was really good right up to the point where we had 4 or 5 lug nuts on the left front.
There you go. 4, I think, was the word.
Yeah, I think it was 4, but no, we got a really good car. This James Dean car is awesome. We got Kevin and Delana here, which we really don't normally care if Kevin comes, just as long as Delana shows up at the racetrack. But so far, it's pretty good. I mean, it's really good. We had Dennis Setzer that ran the car for us today, since we had to be at the big speedway for the first practice. And you know, obviously with him leading 170 some odd laps last night, 200 in the truck race, we knew he was the right guy to get in there and help us out. And it's an awesome car right now. You know, I've listened to a lot of things that he's told me. I really believe he's probably one of the best short track racers that never got a really good break in the Cup Series. So you know, having his help today was just, it was kind of like those commercials where you say it's priceless. It was priceless having him on board today. So it's a fun car to drive right now. We're just going to have to be cautiously aggressive right now and try to get ourselves back to the front now.
Tony, a lot has been said about you and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. How is the Home Depot car for tomorrow?
It's really good. I mean, I'm really excited. I'm disappointed in myself. I should have run better than I qualified today, but you know, there was nothing wrong with the car. I just overdrove it and you know, caused us to have a 22nd place starting position. But you know, the car was driving really good in long runs today, and I knew Zippy and all the guys, they know how important this race is to me, and they've really gone above and beyond what they normally do, and they normally give 110% anyway, but they've just really tried to fine-tune everything for this race and try to give me the best car possible.
Have you checked out the fence by the starter stand at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway?
It's pretty serious. I mean, I mean, I told Helton today, because he was talking to me about it, I said, you need to get an EMT and some oxygen and all kinds of stuff over there if we get lucky enough to win this thing tomorrow. So he said he'd pretty much have me taken care of. I'm praying that somebody's smart enough to bring me a ladder tomorrow. But I'm not sure. We'll worry about the first part of it, then we'll worry about the fence.
Yeah, given your sponsor, I think somebody can probably arrange that.
Yeah, I mean, they had a special. I mean, they had a special on fencing and ladders at Home Depot. You could get 10% off after we won at Loudon. So it was a pretty cool promotion.
Talking with Tony Stewart, who's going to try and continue his quest for the NASCAR Nextel Cup Championship at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway tomorrow. Tony, given that Indianapolis is such a big race and how important it is to you, why are you here racing tonight? Some people would probably wonder.
Because this place is very important to me, too. I don't know how many wins I've got here in USAC, and I've won an IMCA modified feature here, numerous midget features, a couple sprint car races, and a Silver Crown race here. So I've won in 4 different divisions here at IRP, and this was one of the first places that really was like home to me. I mean, the people here at IRP have always been like family, and you know, I can remember when I was still running the USAC days, they used to turn the lights out on me to quit signing autographs and leave. So. But they've always been very kind to me here, and it's a place that, you know, a lot of these people that are here are people that don't get a chance to go to the Brickyard 400 tomorrow, and are people that watched guys like Brian Tyler and Tracy Hines and Boston Reed and myself run open wheel cars here. So it's nice to have these guys here and be able to run in front of the fans that haven't got a chance to see us at a Cup race.
Tony, I know you couldn't see it because you don't have the monitor in front of you, but while you were talking about that, we were showing some pictures that the racetrack provided of some of your exploits here, and they were all positive.
Yeah.
It's not that we were hiding them from you. No, it's great stuff and would be great memories for you, I'm sure. So on our Bank of America Countdown to Green tomorrow, we're going to see you and Matt Yoakum in your hometown. What was that like?
Well, Matt's kind of like Shaheen here. I mean, first thing he wanted to do was go buy some hair care products and another comb and a brush and everything. But we took him down to Burger Bob's, which is the Dairy Queen store that sponsored me when I was 9 years old racing go-karts. Took him by a really neat restaurant named Kramer's down there downtown where I eat my breakfast. Even when I show up late for breakfast, when they're on lunch, they cook me breakfast anyway. So it's a pretty cool place, and took him by and showed him a buddy of ours that's our insurance guy that's known me since I was a little kid, and probably was one of 2 people that were directly responsible for me getting my first go-kart. So we just had a good time down there. It's awesome being back home, and you know, with this week being in Indy and everything, it's been a hectic week, but everybody's had a lot of fun doing it.
So, Tony, you're telling us that sometimes you don't get up in time.
Benny, as a sprint car and midget driver, I used to sleep until 11:30 every day if I could afford it. And, you know, sometime between 11:30 and 1 o'clock was when I'd get up and get home at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning and go to bed. So I'm very nocturnal. That's why I'm wide awake right now. I love these night races. They're definitely more my style for sure.
Well, Tony, good luck to you tonight and also tomorrow. A victory at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, it would just thrill us all to death.
Trust me, it wouldn't thrill anybody more than me. It's you know, if I can get one win there, I don't need to be greedy. I don't want 4 or 5 wins there. I just want to get one there in a Cup car. So if I can just win one race at the Brickyard, I'll be pretty happy. So just looking forward to it. Everybody on the Home Depot team's done an awesome job, and looking forward to a good day tomorrow.
Thanks, Tony. Appreciate your time.
All right, you surely don't want me to turn it back over to this part-time guy, do you?
Hey, well, you know, the really good thing you got going tomorrow is all this nice extra weight you're putting on is really going to help that car turn left tomorrow.
I was just telling Boston Reed, he was saying something and giving me a hard time about it today, and I said, kid, when you win as many Cup races as I have, then we'll worry about my weight. But the last time I checked, you haven't won any yet and haven't even got in a Cup car, so this weight seems to be doing just fine.
Very nice. Very nice. Tony,
right,
thanks.
Benny knows. Benny knows.
That's right. I know about that weight.
All right. We appreciate Tony taking some time with us, and we look forward to tomorrow's All-State 400 at the Brickyard. And let's take a look at how they qualified and how they'll line up to start the 12th NASCAR race at the famed Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Elliott Sadler, Jeremy Mayfield, and Michael Waltrip. Ford, Dodge, Chevrolet.
Yep. Casey Kane ran so well there last year. Remember that?
Man, got that outside groove working at the Brickyard last year.
Ryan Newman, one of the homegrown Indiana boys in the race.
And could Jeff Gordon get it turned around? Good starting spot for him tomorrow.
Yep. Ricky Rudd running well, former winner.
How about Kenny Schrader?
Yeah.
Starting 11th inside of row 6. Attaboy, Schrader.
Yeah, it's a big deal for Kenny, too. Indianapolis. Robbie Gordon, of course, has run the 500 there as well as the 400. Kevin Harvick, the 2003 winner of the race.
See Truex Jr. in the race tomorrow.
Matt Kenseth ran from the back of the field up to second in last year's race, only to think he had a flat tire in the final laps and make an unscheduled pit stop. And as soon as he made the pit stop, the caution came out and trapped him in the back of the field, and he could get an Indianapolis victory. And there's Tony back in row 11.
Jack Roush just a moment ago said it felt like all of his cars were good on long runs. They were going to be okay. And there's Junior, Dale Earnhardt Jr. back in 27th position alongside Kyle Petty. Yep. Junior's not happy with his car today. Hopefully they found something this afternoon to help him out.
Yeah, and as you heard Jack Roush say, qualifying results are not necessarily indicative of race performance because it became an impound race. There's Greg Biffle, third in the championship, way back.
And Biffle and Elliott Sadler, they tell me, those two cars were the class of practice at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So obviously Biffle has a good car, but he is going to start way, way back, just as you said, Alan.
Bill Elliott, Bobby Labonte, former winners. There's Kurt Busch, the defending champ, back in row 19.
Now check this out. The guy that's fourth in NASCAR Nextel Cup points, Rusty Wallace, starting inside of row 21 on the outside, is the leader in the NASCAR Nextel Cup points.
Both having their problems today over at the Speedway. Casey Mears also fastest in practice today, and then kind of pancaked the side of his car in his qualifying effort, and going to have to start disappointingly back in row 20. And Terry Labonte will bring up the tail of the field, former champion, former two-time champion.
Yes. 84, what,
96.
96.
Yeah. And so that's how they'll start in the 12th running of the Allstate 400 at the Brickyard at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. As always, the huge field of cars turning out to try and make the big race.
Well, this is terrible. All these cars not able to race. Kenny, the Wallace brothers, Kenny and Mike, and P.J. Jones. Kevin LePage was the last car to be bumped out of the race. Stuart Kirby, Morgan Shepherd, and Tony Raines had a good, I thought he was going to make it in the 92 car. He'd run some good laps in practice, but come down to qualify.
Didn't work out.
Didn't work out for him.
Well, the track drying equipment is out there, as you can see and hear. The pit crew's trying to do their part, and we'll continue to talk with some people down on pit road. Here's Lindsay.
Hey guys, Ashton Lewis is over here high-fiving his crew. These guys did a phenomenal job. Right before the rain came, you gained what, 5 positions because of a great pit stop?
Yeah, we're it's the easiest place to pass is up and down pit road, and the whole Team Marines crew, they did a great job and passed 5 of them for me, so it made my job a lot easier.
How do you teach them? You make them practice every week?
Yeah, I think they practice like 2 or 3 times a week, and you know, they review films, and they're recovering from last week. We had a bad stop last week, and they're making up for it in a big way.
You talk about watching film. I know you're a big Phil Mickelson fan. People might not know that you're a lefty. Do you watch his swing?
Yeah, I watch it, but I can't emulate it yet. I just picked up golf. You know, my brother's been a golfer for a while, and I just picked it up, you know, at the beginning of the season and started playing a lot, and I've gotten so addicted to it right now. I've been watching, you know, the championship now, and of course the PGA championship's coming up next week, so get all in tune with it, but I'm still learning.
You're still learning. You're still waiting for your first Busch Series win, man. What would it mean for you to get it here?
It'd just be great. You know, growing up on short tracks and racing Langley Speedway back in Chesapeake, Virginia and Hampton, Virginia, it meant a lot to get your first win on a short track and kind of just to get the monkey off my back. You know, we've been here so long and we've had so many close calls and so many close chances to win races and just haven't been able to put it all together. So we've got a good car to beat, and I think we got to beat that 35 McDonald's car. If we can do that tonight, we'll be all right.
All right, guys.
Hey, Lindsay, did it quite stop raining?
Yeah. Yep. Looks good.
All right. No umbrellas. We're good to go.
Yeah. Well, you see drops. There are a couple drops.
Now see.
Lindsay, what are you doing there?
What do you mean, what am I doing?
Well,
I'm standing with Ashton.
On screen, we're seeing you sweeping some water.
Job security. That's all it is. It's job security.
So if this gig doesn't work out, you can always get a job sweeping, right?
Absolutely.
All right.
They say everybody has to start by sweeping the floors, right?
It's a good arm muscle builder.
There you go.
Yeah. Tone.
I had quite a technique, too.
Oh, Ashton says I had a technique.
Yeah.
You want to comment on that?
No, I'm talking about the sweeping part of it, right? Isn't that what you're talking about?
There you go. All right. Carl Edwards, I believe, is with Ralph.
Thank you.
Well, actually, guys, you're going to these two here, Carl Edwards and Brad Parrott, who are wearing some packs and ready to chat with you. So have at it, boys.
Carl, how are you?
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Oh, they got.
All right, let's see. Hang on a minute, Carl. You know, you can drive a race car.
Yeah, the ON OFF switch was in the OFF position. Yeah, but I was having, to be honest with you, kind of a lousy day, and we crashed. We didn't crash. We had a tire go bad there at Indy, and we didn't qualify as well as we wanted to here. But man, you know, the crowd really got me pumped up before the race, and now the Charter Ford's going forward, and I'm having a good time. I'm having fun.
I see you're 16th. So did Brad and these guys pick you up some spots on the pit stop?
No, we didn't.
What happened?
I'm working on that pit crew pretty hard on this Charter Communications Ford, and I'm gonna do some heavy duty work again next week. You just can't pull lug nuts off with your fingers, and you need to do it with the gun. And I've got one guy on my team that really don't understand that, and I'm gonna have a talk with him again next week about it.
So is a whip in order next week, you think?
Well, first of all, I'm gonna sit them down and make them watch 3.5 hours of Charter cable, and then 4 hours of pit practice, and then get back in there and watch Charter cable again, and he'll get it figured out.
Hey, we talked about, Todd, we talked about strategy. I was shocked that all you guys stopped so early. Why make the pit stop this early? Are you going to make another one?
Hey, Benny.
It's Brad.
That's Brad.
Oh,
Todd's the guy that is bigger than his brother Brad, and he sat on the pole at the Brickyard. So congratulations, Todd.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
But that's okay, Benny. You know, you're not the only one. But no, I'm a parrot. So
yeah.
No, the stop, the last 3 years, we look back at history, and it's been around lap 60. I think you'll see the last stop of the night around lap 120. Hopefully some guys will stay out to lap 150 and think they need tires for the last 50. But for track position, we're probably going to come in around the lap 120. It's no secret, you know, if everybody pays attention to history. Carl's done a great job. He says he's using his foot, an egg. He's actually driving the car like Darlington, and just don't have the rear of the car figured out for handling yet, but he's getting the job done for us again.
Hey, Carl, you and I had a conversation today over at the other track, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, about your double-duty year and all the racing that you've been doing. What's the biggest lesson you've had to learn to try and make it work running both series?
You know, I think that I've just been able to learn things twice as fast running both series, and it's still taken me a little while to get the patience thing down, and I think that's the biggest deal. But I have to take this opportunity. I see Tony Stewart over there watching the TV, and I have to thank him for loaning us his chopper to do this deal this weekend. That's pretty cool. Tony's a good guy, and he helped me out. But the double duty is just an opportunity for me to race more, and I don't know that I won't do this again over and over. I mean, I'm having a good time with it. I love racing, and this just gives me a chance to race more times.
No, now you would seriously think about doing this again next year?
Yeah,
running both.
I seriously am. I'm thinking about doing it for maybe years to come. I don't know. I really enjoy it. I think that you know, we missed the one race at Nashville, but other than that, man, the running double duty's been cool. And you know, just like tonight, you know, coming here, I was in a bad mood. We had bad qualifying effort with our AAA Ford over there on a backup car. And just coming here and getting to race and getting to do what I like and see the crowd and how excited they are, it really gets me going. I love it.
What about that backup car tomorrow in the Brickyard 400?
Well, the first, all 3 or 4 laps we've had on it are decent. And I don't know. I don't know how that's going to go. All of those turns are like the tunnel turn at Pocono, and I love that turn. So we'll see. It could be a great race. We might be a long day, but I'm going to look at it in a positive way and go out there, and we're going to do our very best. I think we'll be all right.
I'm curious, Carl, you're a Midwestern guy from Missouri, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in your childhood racing dreams. Something you ever thought that you'd see become reality like it'll be tomorrow?
That was about as far from reality as anything could be. I did not ever think I'd be able to race on that racetrack. So just getting to qualify for that race and getting to go over there tomorrow and wake up in the morning and know I get to run in the All-State 400 at the Brickyard, that's going to be it's going to be crazy. It's going to be neat.
Okay, Brad, here's your chance. Would you like to call Benny Wally before we go and do something else?
No, it's Phil, isn't it? is that Phil Parsons up there with you?
No, his much older brother.
Oh, okay. No, Benny, you guys do a great job. And Carl, did you know that I've been to Victory Lane twice at the Brickyard?
I did not know that.
You did not know that. Yes,
I have. You coming tomorrow?
Huh?
You coming tomorrow?
Coming to the race tomorrow.
Hey, and happy birthday, Penny Rollins from Super Chips. We appreciate it.
Got it all done. Thanks, guys. We appreciate it. Carl Edwards and Brad Parrott, his crew chief for tonight.
Brad, not Todd, Brad Parrott.
And correctly stated that Todd's team, with Elliott Sadler driving, will have the pole for the All-State 400 at the Brickyard tomorrow. Another driver whose family connections will be busy tomorrow at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is with Lindsay.
Yes, sir. John Wood, number 47 in the Clorox Ford. John, you came in 6th 2 years ago here. So what did you learn in that race that might help you get up there today?
Well, I mean, this isn't a very long race in comparison to a lot of the ones that we, that we go to every week. It's only 200 laps, so everything you learn about patience and taking your time, you throw it out for this one particular race, and hope you don't run into anybody and come out with a good finish.
And Alan and Benny, I know you guys are into music, and John was just telling me that he spent a lot of money on an iPod and downloading. So if you could describe IRP with a good song out there, what would you pick?
I don't know, because like I was telling you, I just bought the iPod, and I've spent more money downloading songs than I have on the iPod itself. So, I got songs that'll rev you up, and songs that if, you're all sad and lonely, they'll soothe that too.
Why are you sad and lonely?
I'm not.
I'm kidding. What songs are in your iPod?
You're hitting a little too close to home. Just different ones. I mean, nothing in particular. I've got everything from Johnny Cash to AC/DC, 50 Cent. I got it all.
All right. Benny, what's in your iPod?
A little few banjos and fiddles.
Somehow I knew that was coming up. A little Robert Earl Keen in there.
Yeah, Robert Earl, yes.
Yeah, there you go. The sound I like to hear most right now are those jet dryers drying this racetrack. Look at the dry patch coming up behind it there.
That's wonderful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Good job, guys. Keep it going.
Means we're going to see some racing sometime soon here at IRP. Under the red flag for rain after 59 of 200 laps, but the resumption of action hopefully coming soon here on TNT. Back at Indianapolis Raceway Park, looking ahead to tomorrow's All-State 400 at the Brickyard, 2 p.m. Eastern Time on NBC Sports. We start with Bank of America Countdown to Green. Be a lot of fun. And hopefully we won't see any covers on the cars in tomorrow's race over at the Brickyard.
Hope that there will be no rain. As you see all these cars covered up. The rain has stopped. The racetrack is dry, and we'll be back racing pretty soon, and we'll be seeing that 64 car owned by Rusty Wallace and driven by Mike Wallace. Guys, go ahead. Go ahead, Lindsay.
Right now I'm standing next to Mike Wallace, his brother Rusty, crew chief Blake Bainbridge. Hey, you guys, this isn't so bad. You have the time for a little brotherly bonding. Is that what this is?
We're talking about how the car's running, and Mike's doing a great job tonight. He's driving our Miller High Life Light car. I drove in Kentucky, and when I got done with Kentucky and that night, I had my foot all burned up. I was beat up, and I said, man, I'm not driving IRP. And Mike says, let me drive that thing. I said, okay, you can have it. But we built a brand new car. This is the car I wanted to run at St. Louis last week. We couldn't get it done, but it's a beautiful car, and Mike's doing a great job in it.
How's the car?
It's good. We've just been a little free off the whole race, and it was good for the pit stop right now that they got it tightened up, and I think we'll be just fine. Car drives good. It's just a little free off, but pit stop came at the right time to adjust on it, and we'll go to the front from here.
All right, and got to talk about tomorrow. And Rusty, I know you said you're starting from the back. Are you looking forward to that race?
Yeah, I do look forward to the race. I just made a big mistake. I went out 52nd today, and the track cooled off, and I was going for it. And that's kind of untypical of me. You know, I'm always going for it, but I can't remember in 11 years ever spinning out. I felt like an idiot, to tell you the truth. But I went down into one, held it way out, got the right rear tire. One of the best cars in the house, and I'm really excited about that. We just have to start in the back. It's a long race, and I've started in the back and finished second before, so I'll try it again.
I want to ask you too about the last call tour, because it must be kind of emotional for you to come back to the Brickyard, such a historical place the last time.
Well, the Brickyard's always I haven't had time to get emotional at all because I'm so worried about, you know, keeping the car up and the points real good. I'm thinking all mechanical stuff, shocks, springs, stuff like that. You know, when you get emotional is when you leave the racetrack, it's all said and done, and you go, wow, man, that's the last time I'll be there. But I got to tell you, when I hit that wall today, I couldn't believe it, you know, and I'm looking forward to the race. But when I flew in today, I was looking down that golf course going, man, I'd like to get my Callaway golf clubs out there, my Top Flight golf balls, and play while these guys are out there running, man.
Because you guys probably had a lot of fun playing in the rain when you were kids, didn't you?
Playing in the rain? Well, I don't know if we played in the rain very much. The only thing I remember is playing in the rain was when Mom was squirting us down with a garden hose or something. But it was, you know, Rusty said he hadn't done that in 11 or 12 years, but this is his last call tour. So he's pushing it to the limit. You know, nobody's saying he's going down calm. He was going to sit on the pole. It just didn't happen.
All right, well, you know, you guys, you're missing one, which of course is Kenny. But I've heard.
I'm sure you've talked to him already.
Well,
right?
I think that we found him. Is that right, guys?
Hi, Lindsay.
Oh,
hey,
Kenny, hi.
Hey, let me tell you something. That is true. My mother, Judy, Rusty and Mike would get in these horrible fights inside the house in Arnold, Missouri. And it would sound like the house was coming down. No lie, my mom, she with her house coat on, man, just right out of Green Acres, beating the heck out of them, too. And then years ago when we grew up in Rolla, Missouri, that's true. My mom or my dad, they would not quit fighting, so you just sprayed them with the water hose, and finally they got off each other. So it's good that my brothers love each other now, because I can remember in the early days, they fought like dogs.
So you weren't involved in all this fighting, Kenny?
Oh, thank God I'm the baby brother, you know. They spoil me.
Hey, you know how he could get away with saying all that? What? Because Rusty and Mike don't have headphones on, and they can't respond back. They can't hear what he's saying right now.
But it's true, Alan. I swear, Benny.
Ready? Rusty, you've got a message for your brother?
Yeah, I told him to shut up and drive the car. Hey, tell those old stories from way back, man. That embarrasses us.
Hey, you tell him to get that Miller High Life car up here running with this AutoZone car, and he can keep talking.
Right now we've got
telling stories.
So
we've got him
we could go ahead and just start talking, because Kenny's working really hard on trying to fill the whole, you know, what's he, an 8 or 9 minute talker? So Rusty and I and Blake can talk about some really good things tonight.
They're jealous.
You know?
He's saying you're jealous.
Yeah, we are jealous. He's famous, Kenny is, you know. At least ask him, he'll tell you he is.
Hold on. Me, I'm going to put my headsets on Rusty.
Oh, this will be good.
Oh. Yeah, here we go. Hey, what are you doing?
Hey, bro, I was just saying.
Did you say I was jealous?
No, what I said is you have to.
You're not going to be jealous when that 64 comes around you here in a
Well,
minute.
let me just tell you something, buddy. That Miller High Life car right now is running about 20. If that AutoZone car's up there around 6, what are you going to do to get that thing running?
Oh, we're going to two-tire it and pass you, dude.
Oh, now everybody knows.
No, I'm just joking with you. No, we're 17th right now. We just put 4 tires in that baby. We're in good shape, right, Blake?
That's right, man. We got her tuned in, dialed in.
That's right. We're ready. Got a good car. It's beautiful out there. What be 60-some laps in this race, something like that. But anyway,
Hey,
how you doing up there? Okay.
Hey, yeah, I'm running good. I'm a little tight in the middle, and if I give it too much gas too quick, it'll slide the nose. So I got to get it.
You better fix that, man. You know how to do it. I taught you all that stuff.
We just did. You know, sometimes a big brother can be intimidating. At 41 years old, I'm still scared of my big brother, Rusty.
Well, no, you're not.
Okay, bro.
We're showing all our sponsors right now while you're running your mouth.
Well, let me just tell you something.
Snap-on, Freightliner, RWI. What else we got over here?
You ain't got nothing.
Jim Barna, Emerson Climate. We got more sponsors than you got.
No,
I'm glad you got your new one,
No,
dude.
you don't.
We're real proud of you to get AutoZone. That's a great company.
Well, thank you very much.
You
I
bet,
appreciate
man. I'll
that.
put the plug in there for you because I know you can't really toot your own horn right now. I can do that for you,
Okay, go ahead. Go.
All right, Kenny Wallace, one of the greatest drivers in the world. Having a great race out there, running 6 today with a brand new sponsor, AutoZone. The sponsors must be happy. And Rusty Wallace, big story, got his brother, his younger brother, middle brother, Mike Wallace, driving his car because Rusty's too lazy to drive it tonight. All right, Mike?
Yeah, and he's actually paying me really good. So,
hey, Mike, come
First time I'm sitting with Blake in the pit box today. I tell him make sure these guys don't screw up and leave those lug nuts loose. That's right.
Hey, and let me tell you something. Rusty will spoil you. He brought Mike over in a helicopter. And, Rusty, thanks for letting me use your helicopter from Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
All right, just put a couple $100 in the ashtray in the back when you go home.
You know what? I think I owe Rusty about $20 million. I don't have that much.
No, don't worry. I'm using up too much airtime. I'll see you guys later.
All right. Oh, man.
Hey, Benny and Alan, do you have a question at all?
Well, we had several of them, Kenny, but I think you guys have used up all the time.
Yeah.
Well, let me just say this.
Okay.
Benny and Alan,
Yes.
I've known you two for a long time.
Yes.
And it's nice, Benny, that you have your radio show and you let me talk about my new AutoZone sponsor on your show. Thanks for doing that.
That's no problem.
And Alan, we are going to be on Monday night, I believe, inside Nextel Cup. And we get to talk about it again, don't we?
I'm sure you'll find a way.
I'm just so appreciative, guys. You know, we lost our sponsor at Chicago. And, you know, I've had so many people. I've had Mike Helton, the president of NASCAR. I've had a lot of people come up and go, how did you get a sponsor so quick? And I will tell everybody that it's a friend of a friend. It's not like, you know, we're great at getting sponsors, but we've been fortunate. I want to thank everybody at AutoZone for signing up. It's awesome. We unveiled the car in Memphis on Thursday. And I went and seen Graceland. And Elvis inspired me a little bit for tonight.
Yeah. You pick up any Elvis albums while you were there?
Viva Lost Wages.
Okay, there you go.
All right,
Thanks,
Kenny.
guys.
Thank you. It is good to see Kenny running good, and obviously the new sponsor deal is taking a world of weight off his shoulders.
You can tell he's a very happy camper.
Yeah. Yeah, but was that the first time we've ever had three brothers arguing on television at the same time?
Could be. Too bad we didn't have Russ and Judy there with the garden hose, huh?
Yeah, because then we'd probably gotten the real story of what was going on there. Because the parents always have a different perspective than the children do, right?
I know Russ is here. I saw him earlier.
Yep. Well, they continue to work at drying the track here at IRP. Got all the safety trucks out there, the jet dryers, the whole thing. They're making some progress. The rain has just about stopped, if not quit completely. And we are looking to get this thing back underway as quickly as possible, though they're still working on drying the track.
I don't think he's doing much good with that broom there, that young man.
But he's pitching in to help.
Well, he thinks he's helping anyway.
It's the family sport thing.
I tell you, we had a guy that lost an engine during his qualifying lap. They were able to get one barely in the car. He pushed it back about 2 minutes before the start of the race. He's with Lindsay.
Tyler Walker, your car looked more like a science experiment before the race. What was up?
One more week, the guys did great. The Great Clips crew, worked up until the last 5 minutes before the start. We're pushing out. The national anthem's going on, and gave me a good race car. We started 40th, and we're up to like 26 or something like that. So really I didn't feel good up top, but I felt good on the bottom, and we'll just made an adjustment on that pit stop and hopefully keep going forward.
What are your impressions of the racetrack?
I love this racetrack. I've been here in a Silver Crown, and this is my second time in a Busch car, and I'm having a good time. I'm working on the bottom, so if we can keep working down there and we don't have to race anyone down there, it's really hard to get your car to work down there, and everybody runs up top. So I'm getting off the bottom really good on this end. We need to work on 1 and 2. I'm a little bit tight getting in, and I have to be too patient before I can get on the throttle. So we made a little adjustment. Hopefully we can get the Great Clips deck of Dodge up to the front.
Tyler, I want to ask you about your workout regimen, because I know you're someone that pays close attention to how your body feels in relation to how the car runs. And you had Pedialyte when I ran into you in Pikes Peak. You were drinking that to keep yourself hydrated. Tell me about that. A lot of guys do that.
Yeah, Terry Labonte is who I learned it from. And I didn't drink any today just because it's night and it's cool, and just drink a lot of water. I don't feel too hot. It's pretty cool out today, so just on those hot days, like in the altitude, especially in Pikes Peak or Loudon, when it's really hot, and I think we got right side exhaust, so it's not as hot in the car today than it usually is.
All right, Tyler, thank you.
Thank you.
Guys.
Talking about the heat inside the race car, I was talking to Mike Wallace today over at the Indianapolis Raceway at the big racetrack, and he had a fan going on it. And I said, well, what a wimp you are. You only ran 2 or 3 laps. You have to have a... He said at Pocono last week they measured inside the car 4 laps. The floor pan on the right side of the car was 200 degrees. The floor pan right under the seat was 135 degrees in 4 laps.
Yeah.
So when we talk about the heat inside these cars, it really is incredible, because the exhaust pipe goes right underneath the floor pan, and all that heat just comes up inside the car.
And of course the cars are designed for air to move around them, not in them, because any air that comes in the window and catches in that back window of the car is acting kind of like a parachute, slowing you down.
Exactly. That's drag. And anymore there's no air that goes underneath the car. They try to keep air from going underneath the car to force that air out the back.
Yep. It's a warm weather occupation for sure, even if you live someplace way up north. Ralph, who you found this time, and are they going to make fun of you?
Well, I guess we'll just have to dive in and find out. David Stremme hasn't picked on me too much, and I don't know about Kevin Hamlin. We'll find out about him in just a second. David, let's start with you. How's the car tonight?
The Navy Dodge isn't too bad. We kind of just set into a pace there, and we got a little tight later on that long run. I tell you what, Clinton Boyer come out of nowhere, and he got the bottom working pretty good. But we're going to work on our car. I still believe that it's going to take more than 1 stop in this race. So we're going to see what happens here after the rain dries. I actually could use a little nap. I went and helped my brother race at Fort Wayne, Indiana last night, and he finished second. So I was pretty proud of that, but got in a little late. So hopefully the weather don't hold us up too much here.
How much impact did you have on his performance last night? You changed tires, crew chief, what'd you do?
I just kind of helped him out. We had a lot of guys helping last year, and actually I stole one of them to drive my motor home. And I went up there, and it's the only race I'll really be able to watch. And he set quick time and ended up leading quite a bit, and we finished second. But he's doing really well. He won the championship last year, and this year we're not running a full season with him. We're just kind of hit and miss and just having fun with it.
You mentioned to me earlier today that this car is your best short track car that you've ever been in. Why? What's so good about it?
I don't know. It's a Robertson chassis, and last year we run a different chassis manufacturer at Braun Racing, and I don't know, it's something. Randy and I have been together, you know, for over a year now, and John Weaver does the shocks, and all my Navy guys do a great job. And we built this car. This was the last car we put together. And I was telling Kevin, you know, at Fitz Bradshaw, we built cars throughout the season to how we wanted to. And say you tear one up and it puts you a little behind. And this car was our last one, and we felt, you know, we put all the information that we learned from our other cars into it. And for some reason, it runs great. You know, last week at St. Louis, it was running really well. Pikes Peak, we had a good run going. And, you know, it's just something you got to have a little luck. And month of July is over with, and I'm glad August is here.
All right, well, let's get ourselves over here to Kevin Hamlin. How's your ride going tonight?
I wish we were better. We've been struggling a little bit all day, and we went from real extreme this morning of being tight, and now we're real loose. So we had to make a pretty major adjustment there on the first stop, but we're working real hard on the Geico Pet Brands Dodge, and just trying to do what we can do and finish the race and learn all we can.
So much to learn about becoming a top-flight NASCAR driver. What are you learning about rain delays tonight?
Well, being from Seattle, I'm used to them. So we're just hanging out, talking with David. He's been a big help in my transition doing this deal. And it's only my 6th race in a big car like this. So taking all the help I can get from him and Reed Sorensen, and David Green's been a big help too. And, you know, Brendan Gaughan's been helping me a lot. I got to thank him. He really put me in this position. And Tim Stevens and Ken Schrader, and obviously all the people at Ganassi for giving me this opportunity. It's been a lot of fun.
Many days, I'm sure, as a kid growing up in Seattle, having to entertain yourself during rain delays instead of playing outside. So what was your favorite way to do it?
I didn't have any brothers or sisters that were younger than me, so I just ride my bike and crash into stuff. And I was pretty good at putting golf balls through windows. I'd like to do that. I put a golf cart through a window once when I was younger, so I don't know. I just like to tear stuff up.
Perfect. I'm now cheering for this guy over here. I like this attitude.
Can we get Lindsay down here as pit needs dried? And I seen she was doing a pretty good job down there. So I think you could arrange that, can't you?
Well, I think you just did. She just heard you.
Yeah, she needs to come down. Kevin needs his pit stall dried here.
I think we've started something.
We got to keep her busy or she'll get on that pontoon boat in the infield down there.
Oh.
Okay. All right, well, you know, Alan, you mentioned at the very beginning of the interview whether or not he was going to pick on me in one shape or the other. I haven't been able to get through one, even if it's not picking on me. We haven't had one just smooth one yet, have we?
Hey, rain delays are always a thrash.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
There's the pontoon boat that they were talking about.
Yeah, it's not like this is a huge pond like Lake Lloyd in the infield at Daytona.
That's about a third of an acre, probably.
Yeah. So I don't think you'd be going too far on the pontoon boat. You wouldn't be on the big cruise for the Saturday night on the pontoon boat there, you know? All right, Lindsay, I know you're not drying water out somebody's pit box here. Where are you?
I am down with Boston Reed, who's telling me that Indiana has the best ice cream in the world, hands down. He's from Logansport, which is about, what, an hour from here?
Yeah, about an hour and a half north of here.
Okay, I want to talk about the car real quickly, though, because the chassis that you have on the number 57 car won here the past 2 years, first with Kyle Busch, then with Brian Vickers, so you feel like you're going to be able to continue that trend?
Well, I hope so. I mean, we got a good car. We got a little bit behind in qualifying, so we lost our track position, but I think the Hitachi Power Tools, you know, number 57 is going to be awesome. You know, it's won the past few years, so we'll see. I mean, we've got a long way to go. We're just trying here to gain experience. Chad Walters and I, you know, as a new crew chief, you know, we're trying to get used to each other here for this race, and we'll see what we can do.
Boston, when I talked to you yesterday, you were beaming from ear to ear because of how many friends and supporters you were having come to this race. Where are they?
It's awesome. You know, we rode around in the trucks earlier, and we had people screaming our name, and that's really cool to have, to come back to Indianapolis and have all your friends and family. We got a ton in the pits here. We got a ton in the grandstands. It just feels good, and to know you have support behind you.
What do you do? What does a guy do here in Indiana?
Well, like I said, Logansport, Indiana, there's a homemade ice cream called Sycamore Ice Cream, and whenever I'm back, I always go to Logansport because I got to get some ice cream. Strawberry Malt, unbelievable. But other than that, not too much, playing cornfields, because it never rains, so you can always go outside in Indiana, you know.
It never rains.
It never rains, right. We were looking at the radar, and it's totally clear. And I said, well, it's Indiana. That explains it. So wait 10 minutes, it'll change.
All right, Ralph.
Well, Lindsay, when it comes to ice cream, Clint Boyer's favorite is?
Mama's house. No doubt about that.
Really? What does she make?
She used to make homemade ice cream. I haven't got her to do that often, as often anymore, but seems like the older you get, the less favors you get out of Mom.
Did she have a special flavor that was hers?
Vanilla, that was my favorite. She did good at that.
Well, there's nothing vanilla about that race car tonight. It seems like it's a pretty good one. How's it feel from where you're sitting?
It's a lot of fun to drive, I can tell you that. I haven't had a car this good since Richmond, so hopefully we can capitalize on it. And you had one stole from us a couple weeks ago, I felt, and want to get that one back pretty bad. So hopefully we can get things turned around right here.
You gained a little ground in the points chase last week as well due to Martin Truex having some problems. Where's the team mentally now in this chase for this title?
I tell you what, Gil and the real car guys in this AC Delco team, they all work really hard, and they give me good cars, and come out here and run like this. I was really, really nervous about this run tonight because of how loose the car was in practice and qualifying, but they kept telling me to pay off, and it sure did. But as far as the morale of the team, we're having a blast together. That's the biggest thing about this. You're supposed to have fun. You're with each other all the time. We're with each other more than we're with our families at home. So when you're running good, you're obviously having fun, and that's what we're doing right now. We're just having a good time, and we are closing ground on the leader, Martin Truex, and hopefully we continue to do that.
You know a lot about racing for titles. You've been involved in lots of hunts in the past. You know what it feels like when a team is ready to clinch. Is this team right where it needs to be to really mount a challenge after Martin and maybe take that title away?
Absolutely, and like I say, the team morale is high right now. The confidence is high in everybody. Got a lot of pep in the step. In the shop, everybody's having fun, and that's what it takes to win championships. You got to be, consistent. Consistency always pays off. We'd like to have more wins, of course. Martin Truex having 5 and us only having 1, but we are running up front. We've been a lot more consistent. We just haven't got the wins. So hopefully if we can get those wins and, have him stub his toe a time or two, it wouldn't hurt anything. But, 70 points out, that isn't too far. And if we keep doing what we're doing, I think we'll be right there.
Strategy now when we get back to racing. You know how your car feels. You know how much laps you have left to go. What do you think? What do you got to do?
Just keep that girl up front, it looks to me like. But, our car's working really good. It's rolling on the bottom well, and it's something that's really hard to do at this track. Watching a truck race, a USAC race, I stepped up in the stands, and I was watching those 2 races and learned a lot, and just watching, and passing, where they're passing, stuff like that. And when you can get her stick on the bottom, it's a good thing, and, just thankful that it is tonight.
Well, Benny, one of the things we talked about at the very beginning of the show, of course, was that tight in the center and loose off. And if you're running on the bottom like he is, that's not your problem.
Hey, Ralph.
Yeah.
Ask Clint, did they intend to run the bottom when they started tonight, or this just lucky?
Benny wants to know, did you actually intend to run the bottom tonight, or did you just get lucky on hitting the setup that's allowing you to do that?
Just got lucky. Obviously you run on the bottom, it's less bank, and you're going to slide up. And just the car's turning so good. It'll run on the top, bottom, wherever you want, but everybody else running the top. So goes back to the old dirt days. You got to run where they're not.
There you go, Benny.
Thank you very much, Ralph.
And Clint Boyer running second right now as we sit under the red flag. Will probably take the lead when we go back racing. Mark Green, the only driver in the field who did not pit under the first caution of the race that came out for rain.
You see that just on the right side of that yellow line?
Yep.
That's a dry racetrack.
That's dry stuff.
Yes, it is.
Working the rest of it with the jet dryers, and looks like they're making some pretty good progress. All that talk about ice cream, that's made me hungry.
I know.
Might have a little pre-midnight snack coming up here. We'll have to see if we can arrange that. Well, Reed Sorensen led the opening 49 laps of this race, and Lindsay's caught up with him.
I am. And Reed, tell me what happened. You guys were running first. Now you're back to third. But what was the issue out there?
We were actually pretty good. We led longer than I thought we would, so I was pretty happy with it. The car was pretty good the first 30 laps, and then we started losing a little bit of grip coming off the corners. So we tried to make some adjustments there in the pit stop, and then it started raining harder, so we're not sure what it's going to do. And I think that the track's going to be a little bit different now once this rain got on the track. So, hopefully we'll be all right. I think we got a top 3 or 4 car here, so if you would have told me that, earlier today, I would have been very happy with that. So I'm just going to keep working on this thing, and these guys are going to try to make me up some spots in the pits, and hopefully we'll be good.
How did you celebrate your win last week?
Well, we didn't have much time. We went straight to Watkins Glen and tested there Monday and Tuesday, and had an all right time out there. It was kind of a rough 2 days. Ended up wrecking one car in the first day of testing, and I'm glad I went there, though. It's a really cool racetrack, and I'm looking forward to going there next week. Even though I'm not, a contender for the win, I'm still looking forward to it. It's pretty fun out there. and we're going to test Michigan this Monday and Tuesday. So we're just trying to get our cars running here and gain some points on Martin and Clint there and do the best job we can.
Reed, what a season you've had. And I mean, when you look back, this is your anniversary. Your first Busch Series race was here at this track. When you step back and you look at what you've accomplished, what do you think?
Well, there's sometimes I was very happy with the way we ran, and sometimes I was mad at myself for the mistakes I've made and stuff like that. But that's part of learning, and I've had a really good time from that point to this point, and hopefully the future is just as fun as it's been right now. So I can't wait to see what's in store. I'm only 19, so hopefully I have another 20 years of doing this.
Ralph.
All right, Lindsay, well, we've been talking a lot about ice cream earlier tonight. Maybe we should talk a little bit about wine. What kind of wine, Richard Childress, that you've got a winery, what kind of wine would you serve with an ice cream?
With an ice cream, probably our Serendipity. We just came out with a new wine called Serendipity. It's kind of real sweet. You could even pour it over your wine.
Really, right over the ice cream?
Your ice cream, excuse me, yes.
Really? Okay. Now, what got you into wineries?
Well, it was several years ago when we used to go to Riverside and race out in Riverside, and I would go to the wineries out there. You could always drink free, so that was a plus. So I started liking it, and it was really a neat deal to do. So I said, someday if I get a chance, I want to build one. So we're fortunate enough to have one now.
All right, well, let's talk a little bit about tomorrow at the Brickyard, because I know if you win over there, there'll probably be a lot of wine to go around to celebrate with. You've kissed the bricks over there before. Tell us about the experience of what that's like and the nervous tension you might be feeling tonight as you get ready for another shot at it.
Well, it's really neat. It's probably one of the neatest things. I still remember the time that Dale and I rode around the track after winning over there, and we're looking and just see all these people still staying there waving and cheering you on. It's quite an experience. And then to go back and do it with Kevin Harvick was just unbelievable. And hopefully we can pull it off tomorrow. It's a great race to win. It's one of the greatest to win, I think, if you can win at Indy and Daytona and Charlotte and these places. And we got some good cars tomorrow, so I hope it really works out well.
Tell me a little bit about the cars. A lot of the folks have been paying attention to the Busch race, maybe don't know where the Richard Childress Racing entries are lining up tomorrow.
Kevin's 14th, and I think Jeff and Dave are like 29th and 30th. But these impound races, you got to keep your cars on the loose side, and you've seen a lot of good cars qualify further back. But when they drop the flag, they'll be fast.
All right, now let's talk about the drivers that you're watching here tonight. You got Brandon Miller over here. This youngster's really going fast. Tell me a little bit about him and what you think you're seeing out of him that's got your interest going.
Well, Brandon's really, a lot of people haven't heard of him. He drives a car so hard, and he's done a great job the last couple of weeks. He's doing great tonight, and we've got a lot of confidence in what Brandon can do. And Clint Boyer, what can you say about him? I mean, he stands on the gas, and we've seen him out in Kansas a while back, and he hadn't let us down at all.
We just talked to Clint about his chances for the championship and what he's got to do to catch Martin. You've obviously won a handful of titles in your day. You know what it takes to win. Where do you see that two-car right now is where they need to be to go get that championship away from Martin Truex?
Well, I mean, you got to 41 in there too, but I think Martin is tough right now. He's consistent, and they got their things really worked out, and they're running good. I think we have to be consistent. Clint's he thinks about championships, and we sat down this past winter and talked about what we had to do was finish races. Before you can win, you got to finish, and he's done a great job, and that's where he's really smart in a race car.
Tomorrow, when you're walking out to the grid, what will you be thinking about?
Oh, a lot goes through your mind when you walk up there and see all the cars and see all the fans in the stand, and probably think about winning the races with Dale, winning with Kevin, and winning that day, what it took to win those races and the kind of strategy and stuff, and it's going to be pretty cool.
You got a wine to celebrate with already picked out?
Yes, sir. It will probably be our Cabernet tomorrow night.
Well, got to win the race first, but they've got a plan.
Check this out. The trucks are leaving the racetrack.
Yep, that's a good plan.
That's a good sign.
Looks of things to me, BP, if they get one more pass down the center of this front stretch with these jet dryers that are working turns 3 and 4 now. See that last little gray stripe down there? Or non-gray stripe, the darker stripe?
Yeah, he's going over that now, and both those jet dryers are, I tell you what, those race cars, it won't take long to put those race cars on the racetrack to get this thing dry.
That's what I'm thinking.
Just about ready to go back Seeing some action.
They make that one last pass down the front straightaway, and they might be ready to call the drivers to the cars and get this thing going again. Paul Menard's probably ready to get going, huh, Lindsay?
He's ready to get going. He's running 13th right now. Paul, how's the car doing out there?
We're struggling a little bit with it. It didn't tighten up as much as we thought, and we're really struggling with forward bite off the corner. So Dan Stillman made a little tire pressure change there, and we're anxious to get back out and see how it goes.
Stevie Reeves, I was talking to him earlier. He's your spotter. He said he lives 2 blocks from turn 3 of the Brickyard. That's where he grew up. Has he been able to help you with all of his experience he's had both here and in this area?
I remember sitting on the couch when I was 10 years old watching Thursday Night Thunder, Wednesday Night Lightning, shows like that on ESPN, and Stevie was the man. And all those races were here. Got a lot of laps here, won quite a few races, and he helped me out quite a bit sitting up top the stand spot for me.
What kind of advice does he give you?
The stock car isn't that similar to a sprint car, but they still have 4 wheels and they go in circles, and the track characteristics still stay the same. And just trying to get the car free enough during the day to make it race good at night, and just knowing when to back off a little bit, get in the corner and get a good run off the corner, little things like that.
Anywhere in Indiana where you can take your dirt bikes?
No, I'm still looking to.
Tell me about your hobby. I know you said that that's something you really enjoy doing.
Yeah, we try to go whenever we can. Sunday afternoons, after work on Monday nights, Tuesday nights in North Carolina, and go to the mountains in like Brown Mountain, Brushy Mountain, north of Hickory, and try to go ride for a few hours. It's good exercise and a lot of fun.
Maybe sometime you can take Ralph Shaheen. Ralph?
Oh, Lindsay, you know what? Johnny Sauter has eaten a lot of track burgers around here at IRP. Because you spent many, many years racing here. In fact, you won your ASA title right here, winning the race. Isn't that true?
Sure did. Man's got to eat, you know what I mean? So it might as well be the track food. But this racetrack's been pretty special to me. It's probably my favorite racetrack that we go to, and to win the ASA championship, and to do as good as we did here last year with the truck, finishing second after dominating all night and sitting on the pole last year for the Busch race and leading a lot of that race and finishing second again. So. Our car was pretty tight right now, so we made some pretty healthy adjustments there on that pit stop and lost about 10 or 12 spots, so hopefully I can get them back.
What's the key to you running so well here? What is it about the track that you enjoy?
Just a good flat racetrack. I don't know why. I came here to watch my brother race once and came back here to actually drive myself and for the ASA championship actually, and I've always been really good at flat tracks, and I really don't know why. Just maybe it's because I grew up on a flat track up in La Crosse, Wisconsin. I used to race there weekly, so reminds me a lot of that place, I guess, but it's just good short track racing and not a lot of aero dependency and things like that. It's all mechanical, so I have a lot of fun with that.
What do you have to do to be a good flat track, short track racer?
I'm not sure. Don't ask me tonight. I'm not running too good, but I think it's a lot about momentum and getting in your rhythm and rhythm and hitting your marks every lap. This racetrack's really wide, and you can run high, you can run low, you can run in the middle, and I found some different grooves tonight that I've never actually ran before, so just trying to help my car. So like I said, we made a lot of adjustments, and I hope we made the right ones.
Well, you got a couple bites out of the burger. What makes for a good track burger?
A lot of cheese, Wisconsin boy, and ketchup. Got to have ketchup. Can't eat anything without ketchup.
Well, with the ketchup, Alan, you can always drown out the taste if you don't like it.
Got that home state plug in there, too, huh? A lot of cheese from Wisconsin. Well, hearing from race control from NASCAR officials that they're going to take those jet dryers down on the apron. Right there, you see them right around that yellow line for a quick lap around the track, and then they're going to be just about ready to get this thing going again. Isn't that great?
I'm telling you, fantastic.
And that young man is still at it.
He's still struggling, but he's trying.
He's got a little different, he's upgraded the equipment that he's working with, though.
Okay.
There you go.
Got to have a team hat.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to try it again.
Oh, this is harder work than I thought. All right, let's try it again.
Oh, he's tired.
Dad, how long do I have to keep doing this? All right. Lindsay.
Hello.
You're
I'm
on.
with Ron Hornaday. Ron finished third last night. You're running 11th right now here in this race. What's going on? You started third here.
Just really loose. We had a good car. Don Losey and the guy just gave me a good car, and I don't know what happened. Just started. I don't know if we had too low air pressure or whatever. The car was just coming to us when that yellow came out for the rain. So we made a few adjustments. Hopefully we got the wind fuel Chevrolet right.
You're just sitting back, kind of relaxing. What do you think about during a rain delay?
Making sure your feet don't get wet, because these cars are so hot, and when you get everything wet on you, you start steaming inside of them. But it's pretty cool here. I've already had a hamburger here at IRP and soda pop, so we're ready to go racing.
Is there anything that you learned in that race last night? In any way, can that help you in this race today?
Yeah, we were tight last night, and I put a lot of rear brake into it, and towards about the last 10 laps, I got underneath Jimmy Spencer, and he kind of drove me down a little bit. And I got loose getting in the corner, and I got into him and put him in the fence. And you don't want to do that. I mean, these guys are racing for points, and the wind fuel Chevrolet's racing for points too. But you want to give these guys a little common courtesy and try not to race them hard, but don't try not to wreck them. But just come out here and try to get a good, clean race. And I want to say hi to everybody back at home. And Lacey's birthday is tomorrow, so we'll be home and see her.
And this is the kind of race that you really like, though.
Yeah, it's fun. IRP is a tough little track, and great fans. I mean, they stayed it through the rain, and they're still hooting and hollering in the background, and I just feel in raindrops again.
No, don't say that.
Okay, I don't. But no, it's a fun little racetrack. Just a great opportunity. I got to thank Good Wrench and Kevin and Delana Harvick to give me a chance to drive this thing, and especially Todd Braun. I mean, I'd be sitting at home right now, but this is so much fun to come here to race at IRP, and it's back to short track racing where we all came from.
Ralph, who do you have?
Well, I've caught up with Robert Presley, who spent many, many days behind the wheel of a Busch car. And tell us about your car here tonight. How's it running?
Well, it's pretty good to start the race, but man, the racetrack just got really slick, and we just wasn't going nowhere. Just having to barely touch the throttle up off the corner, and I hope this rain will tighten it up, but I think it's going to tighten it up for everybody.
You came and did a little testing up here. What'd you learn?
Well, we didn't learn enough because we didn't have enough cars up here testing. Racetrack was really good when we was up here testing. Didn't have no forward bite issues, but the night after everybody's got on here, this place is slick.
These rain delays get any easier after all these years for you?
Oh, no. I mean, this is kind of nice having one tonight because that gives us time to talk about what we're going to do.
Come up with any good ideas?
I don't know if it's good, but we come up with some.
All right, Benny.
All right. You got to have a plan. Yeah. I mean, you got to have a plan, and now Robert and the guys have gotten together. They have a plan. As he said, it may not be a good plan, but they got one.
They got a plan.
Exactly.
All right. Well, you see the fans beginning to make their way back to their seats from where they took shelter from the weather when it started pouring earlier on after lap 59 of this race. Still finishing up that last pass or two with the jet dryers, and the officials wait by the covered up cars on pit road, hopefully to call the drivers to them soon.
Tell you what.
You could sleep any place, I guess, if you could sleep on the wall of the racetrack with that jet dryer coming by you.
That is unbelievable.
That must be one of the photographers.
And the amazing thing, when they turn the jet dryers off, you'll wake up.
Yeah.
And the noise goes away.
Is that kind of like when you get on an airplane and you fall asleep?
Why did that thing have to go by?
Yeah, see? Well. But we continue to look forward to the resumption of this race that's hopefully coming up pretty soon. And conditions look like they're getting ready to be favorable for us. Take a break from Indianapolis Raceway Park. You're watching NASCAR on TNT.
Coming to TNT.
What was that?
Head for the trees! Jurassic Park 3, Friday night at 9 on TNT.
Well, that's a good sign.
Yes, sir, it is.
Covers are coming off the cars. Cleaning everything up, getting them dry.
Yep. As we come back live to Indianapolis Raceway Park, TNT's coverage of the NASCAR Busch Series, a race that went under the red flag for rain a while ago now. And we continue to wait the resumption of the race, but getting closer and closer to it just a little bit. I'll tell you, when it rains and the track conditions change, it's got to make all the crew chiefs a bit nervous, Benny.
It has to, yes.
Hey, you hear the fans letting out a roar. They've just called the drivers to their cars. But anyway, it's got to make the crew chiefs nervous because the amount of rubber on the racetrack, the amount of grip the racetrack has, just the conditions in general have changed, and how your car reacts to that. I mean, you just made a pit stop. You may get one more in this race, and that's it.
Robert Presley talked about his car, how loose it was. Well, you would think that this rain would just fix that car. It would be perfect, but maybe it won't.
Yeah, you don't know.
You just don't know. So there has to be a lot of concern on the crew chiefs and the drivers' minds. How is the car going to be? Clint Boyer, the 2 car that's running second now, he was clearly the class of the field. He could run anywhere he wanted to, but what's his car going to do now after the rain? No one knows.
What about a driver's mindset? He's been in there, he's been out there in the heat of competition, especially at a place like this where quarters are tight and the tension's kind of high. Now he has to unbuckle the disappointment of the rain. Is there any kind of a talking up process that has to go to get him back in his competitive mindset here?
You know, I always felt like that rain stopped the adrenaline flow.
Yeah.
You got out of the car, you were pumped up, you're in that car, you're ready to go win the race, do the best you can. You get out, and I just think that what's Tony Stewart doing on the ground? I guess he's trying to clean his shoes off.
Yeah.
Because once you get in these cars, talking about cleaning his shoes off, I'll get back to the other point in a moment. These pedals are metal, and you get in with wet shoes, and they'll slide off those pedals in a heartbeat. So you have to be very careful to get the bottoms dried off. But now back to the adrenaline thing. You get all set up, you're ready to go, and it rains. The adrenaline leaves. Now you somehow got to get yourself pumped back up to do this, and you'll never get back to the point that you were when it threw the red flag.
Yeah.
Not this whole night, I don't think.
Yeah. It is the challenge the drivers face. I'm sure their crew chiefs will be talking to them. They're spotters when they get out there and begin running back around on the racetrack again. But for now, the task is to get in, get buckled up, get those shoes dry, and make sure you're ready to go. And, of course, for the teams, getting the windshields and the windows dry, all that rain leaving stains and streaks, and you can't have that.
No.
So the crews and the drivers continuing their preparations to get back going. Tony Stewart with a lot of ground to make up. If you were not with us earlier and you joined us during the rain delay, Tony had worked his way from his 17th starting spot up to 5th place, and then they had some lug nuts missing on the left front tire on his lap 53 pit stop, and it dropped him back to 31st.
Well, see, that's not so bad, just having a lug nut missing. You pick it up off the ground and put it back on and tighten it up. But Tony left the pit area before they could do that on the racetrack. NASCAR officials caught that, called him back in to install that lug nut. And all those cars that had pitted before them drove by him as he was on pit road installing that last lug nut on the left front.
So Tony is the last car on the lead lap at this point, back in 31st place, and has about 140 laps to try and do something with it. And, of course, then it's on to tomorrow. And Tony's attempt to win the Allstate 400 at the Brickyard at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
And you say, well, Tony Stewart's going to be up late. We talked to Tony Stewart, and how many times has he seen this in sprint car races?
Oh, yeah.
And raced all night up to 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. We're not going to be here till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. We're going to be here till about probably about 11, but he'll be fine.
Yeah, that would be Central Time.
Yes, Central.
Yes. And so Tony getting buckled in as the Kevin Harvick Incorporated team tends to his car. Won't it be something? Oh, here we go with the baseball. The 2-2 pitch. Oh, the
man.
Gatorade Cup is hit for a long shot to turn 1.
Man, he's out of here. Home run.
He clear the fence?
He skipped carry here.
I can hear somebody sitting at home saying, what are they doing with the baseball bat at the racetrack? Oh, it's a replay.
I'll tell you what, I'm impressed.
A lot of teams keep one of those aluminum baseball bats around to use to bend the fenders away from the tire if they get in a jam, kind of as an improvised roller.
That's right. When they make contact with other cars and knock those fenders in against the tire, you're right. They can use that baseball bat to put in there, roll the car forward, and it just rolls that fender out and makes some clearance.
Oh, is that the ball? Is that the ball?
Oh, got to do some repairs on the baseball.
He hit it so hard he knocked the
cover off it.
Knocked the cover off the ball.
Oh boy. The windup. Seeking crowd support. The pitch.
A little high.
Yeah, my Chip Carey imitation's a little weak, huh?
Mine too.
Chip and skip, yeah. There it is.
Very nice. Fans like it. Oh, out. He's out of there.
His Andrew Jones imitation was good.
Okay. They're inside the cars, cleaning the inside of the windows.
Now, once they fire them up, probably going to be several laps under the caution flag, to get the rest of the track dried, but I'm sure, as usual, they'll bring those jet dryers down the pit road.
Yeah, I was going to say, we've got to get pit road cleaned off. Come on, Reed, let's go.
Yeah, get in that car, will you, please? Get in, get strapped up, let's go. Oh, looking at that right front fender where he has some contact there.
I guess. Okay. Now those fans, those blue things are fans. They use those to cool the driver off, cool the tires off, cool the brakes off. Now they're using to try to dry off their pit area.
Looks like Ashton Lewis's team there, 25 group. Running in 9th place. Kenny Wallace, Martin Truex talking it over. And the officials coming down to say, hey, get in. Let's go. That's Boston Reed.
Yep. Nope, that's not Boston Reed. That's one of the crewmen.
Yeah. And the crews have their job to do too. You know, the people change the tires, that kind of thing. They have to get themselves kind of back charged up and ready to go. Wonderful to see anybody, you know, some of these people making a plan. I know they just stopped before the red flag, but I wonder if we'll see some of those guys like Robert Presley that want to do the big adjustment thing come back down pit road, give up some track position, and make the adjustment here. Because if this race restarts and runs for another 70, 80 laps without a caution flag,
he could be lapped if the car isn't up to snuff.
Yeah, might find themselves in a world of hurt. So we continue to wait on the command to refire the engines and get this thing going again.
Hope they found all the drivers.
Well, at some point you got to leave without them if you didn't.
Some of them might have gone to take a nap.
Yeah. Yep. So I need to calculate here just how long this rain delay has been that we have been sitting here, but certainly an unexpected shower that showed up and really dumped some water on this place in a hurry.
And it must have been here an hour and 15 minutes, haven't we?
Yeah, I'm the length of the rain delay, please. Thank you. And just to see how long it's been. You know, talking about Jason Keller and his win with the rain delay back in 1995 when he won his first race. Memory serves me right, his car really came alive when we went back racing that night, and that was his first ever NASCAR Busch Series win. And of course, Jason in contention until just that last pit stop when he lost some track position. We'll see if he can have that same kind of luck tonight.
Yeah, where did he get back to?
Back to 12th.
12th. He was running at one point in time. Jet drives are still there, but this thing is just about ready to go.
NASCAR Busch Series Championship when our broadcast started earlier tonight. This is as they sit now, of course, with a lot of racing. The 70-point lead that Truex had over Clint Boyer coming into the night will be reduced by 20 or so, with Boyer running in second and Truex back in fifth.
Folks, that noise you hear, it's the sound of racing engines. They have been fired. There's our leader, Mark Green, the 23 car, and most of them are back in ready to watch the remaining 141 laps.
They weren't going anyplace. They came to see it, and they were going to see it until it finished.
Randy LaJoie, yep.
That seat and builds. A lot of effort, a lot of dollars put into researching seat safety by Randy and his company. And spends his time trying to further the cause of safety with his fellow drivers in between his racing efforts.
What's it, the JOIE of seating?
Yep. And one of the things Randy's been trying to do that I really commend, you know, there's been so much money put into safety at the Nextel Cup level over the past several years, but trying to filter that down to the local track level. The guys that race at the little quarter-mile and half-mile tracks on Saturday nights for hobbies. Randy's been trying to develop a way to build a seat that has all the strength and the safety effectiveness of that Nextel Cup approved seat on a dollar level that guys running local tracks can afford.
Because those guys, given the choice of a safe seat for $400 or a set of tires for $400, they'll take the tires every time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And compete with a $100 seat that may not be safe. So that's what Randy's trying to do, come up with something, as you said, that would lead them to put the safe seat in the car. Technology's there.
It just needs to continue to filter down, and it is filtering down, and it's just one of those things that always happens. But Randy puts a lot of effort into that, spends a lot of his time beating the drum about those safe seats, and it's a great way for a guy who this sport has been very good to give something back to it.
Anytime there's a crash at a racetrack and Randy enjoys there, he goes to that car, looks to the seat to see if there was the seat gauge. Yeah. And what he can do to make that safer.
Getting the liquids all warmed up in the cars. They've been sitting there for a while now. Just about an hour under the red flag. And these fans are ready. And the officials' hands in the air means the car that they're responsible for monitoring is ready.
And I can put my hand up. I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, let's go.
My hand's up. I think if we put that call out to everybody in the grandstands, their hands would be up too. Roll those cars off. Red flag rescinded. It's a good thing. You know, we've seen some twists and turns at the finish of this race over the years. Benny, guys that looked like they had the race won that didn't end up taking the checkered flag. Guys that kind of came out of nowhere. We've seen our shares of bumps and bangs toward the finish. And leaves me to wonder what will happen in the final laps of this one tonight.
There is no way to know, and that's the greatest thing about an automobile race. You don't know till that checkered flag is waved.
All right, they're going to get the cars off onto the track, formed up in their proper order, and then they're going to bring the jet dryers down pit road to dry it up. So we're going to take a break here and close in on the restart in tonight's Kroger 200 at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Back at Indianapolis Raceway Park, looking ahead to tomorrow's All-State 400 at the Brickyard. The home 1-2-3 bubble drivers of the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series. Basically, the guys hunting around that 10th spot in the race to the chase for the Nextel Cup.
6 more races before we cut off, and only 10 drivers will be eligible to compete for the NASCAR Nextel Cup. Dale Jarrett currently in 10th spot. Jeremy Mayfield Sadler in at 8th and 9th, but McMurray, Edwards,
and more
trying to ease their way somehow into the top 10.
Anybody from, I'd say, like 4th place Rusty Wallace all the way down to 15th place Jeff Gordon. They've got a shot.
With 6 races to go?
Yeah.
Sure they do.
Yep. And we look forward to tomorrow's race from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. By the way, if you'd like more on the home 1-2-3 bubble drivers, log on to NASCAR.com for more information. Well, got the jet dryers going down the pit lane, got the cars out on the track doing their thing to finish drying the racing surface, and we should see the resumption of this race momentarily. The laps are counting. The red flag rescinded and the yellow flag back out, so we're up to lap 63 now. And the pit road obviously closed for safety reasons, so we won't know if anybody's going to try and execute their repair plan like we talked about until they get those jet dryers out of the way. While we wait the restart, let's take a break from Indianapolis Raceway Park. The NASCAR Busch Series on TNT. Mark Green leading Clint Boyer as we look forward to the restart. Back at Indianapolis Raceway Park, live NASCAR racing on TNT. And our rain delay slowing tonight's NASCAR Busch Series race, but we're back under the yellow flag and closing in on the resumption of competition right now at lap 66 of 200. The caution for the rain was the first caution of the race, and so the first lucky dog tonight. And Brent Sherman gets the Ballpark Lucky Dog Award. First car not on the lead lap, so he gets his lap back.
So he fought and fought, trying to stay in the lead lap.
Yeah.
And wisely did that, because just before the caution flag, Clint Boyer passed him, but he was the next car, so he gets to go all the way around and make up that half lap.
And so Brent Sherman will be in 27th place and the lucky dog at this point. Well, Mark Green in the 23 car was running 29th before the caution flag came out for rain. Did not pit when everybody else in the field did. We'll see if Mark stays out on track or if he comes down pit road and tries to take his fuel and just take his 5 bonus points for spending some time out front.
Kevin Moss, I thought, was giving the field 5 laps to go before Green. I'm not sure exactly. Looked like he was doing that.
Yeah, and you know, they often do that. They'll give them a signal and then wait the next lap around to see what kind of response they get from the drivers.
Lindsay, what about the 23? Did they have a plan?
They do, and they plan to pit right before green. They're having some sort of issue, and actually they're planning it into their schedule that they might bring the car down twice. The first time for 4 tires, and then the second time for any additional adjustments, just so they don't lose serious track position.
Problem for them is pit road is still closed, so they have to wait to execute that plan. And there is the signal being shown from the starter stand. Potentially 4 more laps of caution before we get the green flag and the resumption of this race. We'll see what Mark Green does. Clint Boyer's team looking good also. Looking for the green flag shortly. Back at Indianapolis Raceway Park, and Mark Green has yielded the lead and come down pit road for a stop as we are just a couple of laps away from the restart. Some others following him in on the pit road as well, as you can see.
Lots of other cars coming on pit road making those adjustments. Lindsay, the 23 gets their plan executed.
Yeah, they're working on it right now. Mark Green is in. They changed right side tires. They also, I think they changed left sides. I'm going to check on that, but they plan also to take fuel 1 round of track bar in the right rear. Hopefully, they're hoping they won't have to bring him in again, but we'll find out if they're still going to stick to that plan.
Well, we'll see if they're going to have time to bring him in again, because I think they're going to get the 1 to go signal right here.
Brent Sherman's about to lose the lap that he, and the 12 car is stalled on pit road. Paul Wolf.
No, that's Kaufman.
Yes,
Joel Kaufman.
This 40 car is Paul Wolf. Oh man.
Careful. Still got that pit road speeding thing, even though you stalled it. So lap loss there by Joel Kaufman. Local kid from LaGrange, Indiana.
Yes.
Now living in Mooresville, North Carolina, outside of Charlotte, where all the race teams are based for the most part.
There's a teammate of the 12 car of Kaufman, the 14 of Stremme.
All right, BP.
Here we go.
His truck is off. Finally. Out an unexpected rain shower. The fans come to their feet, most of whom are still where they were when that rain shower fell a while ago, and we are back underway at IRP.
Stremme trying to take the lead from the 2 of Boyer. There he is, right on the inside. Oh, trying to get that grip. Not quite enough, but he's not going to give up.
Remember, all these cars made a pit stop going into the rain delay. They're curious how the track conditions have changed compared to theirs. Cars handling. Boyer and the 2 so good on the bottom of the racetrack in the opening run of the race. Now he's running up high.
And Stremmy's running the low line, trying to get the grip to get by the two. Can't quite make it.
Sorensen third, Truex fourth. And the battle for the lead.
Oh,
there's that
baby.
slide job.
Almost making contact with the 2 car, but not quite. Great job by Stremme to stay off that 2 car. Look at him turn that car and drive up. Just can't get enough run.
One of the tough parts of this racetrack, the upper lane has more banking than the bottom lane. When you run in there on the bottom, you don't have as much track to lean on, and it's easy to slide up into that guy on the outside you're trying to race.
I think Stremme realizes he wants to get up and get those 5 bonus points for leading the lap. And after all, he wants to lead the race. And he realizes he needs to do it now because what we saw the earlier run, after 15, 20 laps, his 2 car becomes a rocket.
And right behind Stremme, starting to put some heat on. The driver who started on pole for tonight's race, Reed Sorensen, in the picture as well. And Truex closing in there too, BP.
Yes, he is, the 8 car. Lindsay, how about the 14? What's the deal? Why is he trying to take the lead so hard?
Because he is on a mission. They feel like this is the car they need to win this race. This is the same car that he had at Pikes Peak, also in Gateway. Last week at Gateway, he finished 22nd with it. But right before that long rain delay, they took 4 tires, gave him fuel, made a chassis adjustment. His crew chief, Randy Cox, I just talked to him. He said, we feel really, really good. Look for us possibly to pit on 89, but of course we won't if our track position can get up there.
See, this is what we saw earlier, though. For what, 10 or 15 laps?
Yep.
They overrun the 2 car, but then now he's slowly, just inches at a time, pulling away from the 14.
A little farther back in traffic. Remember, talked about Jason Keller in 35 running up there into the top 5, and then having a problem on his pit stop, falling back to 12. He's trying to pick his way through the traffic.
We're riding on board Denny Hamlin, the Rockwell Automation.
It's a pretty good automotion up there too,
yeah.
Racing for a top 10 spot.
Tell you one thing, that left rear. Now he's got the left rear of the 35 car to match the right rear.
Yeah.
See the left rear. Now watch as he goes by. Check out the right rear. Looks very similar.
Now looking at that fender, he's not loving that.
Tell you one thing, that would sure puncture a tire if you got up and rubbed against it.
I'm sure the officials have taken a good look at it. So that's Jason Keller moving into 10th place, and now working on the 46 of Robert Presley to try and pick up 9th. There's Kenny Wallace 22, David Green 27, and that's for 6th and 7th place. Ashton Lewis joining in the 25.
Oh boy, almost contact. Kenny, you better go because you're going to run into it if you don't.
Wow, look at Lewis right down there. All 4 wheels below the yellow line.
27 gets by Kenny Wallace, Ralph.
Yeah, Penny, they restarted this race running 8th. The car was pretty tight for David Green. They took 4 tires of fuel, made an air adjustment, and put 1 round of wedge into the left rear to try to help David Green get that car through the corners.
Looks like it's working pretty well, Ralph.
The view from Kenny Wallace looking ahead at David Green. And to Kenny's inside, Ashton Lewis still working him over. You know, both the Renzi team's cars,
yes.
Lewis and Jason Keller having good performances tonight, although they both had some hiccups on that pit stop. But the team as a whole struggling this season, and they seem to have hit on something for this place.
Well, Jason Keller talked about coming up here and testing, and I think that's probably what they hit on because they haven't been able to test it this year. This 25 car, 35 car was just born late.
Yeah.
I don't think they started this team until about December, January.
Yeah. Robert Presley slipping back as Kenny Hamlin works to his inside, trying to pick up a spot.
Now, Presley in the 46 car talked about being so loose during the rain delay, just not able to get back on the throttle to drive off the corner. We thought maybe that this clean racetrack with the rain washing off might have helped this situation, but evidently not. All right, here we go. As Boy in the 2-car tries to go by Randy McDonald in 72, that allows the 14 to pull up right behind him. Look like Strimmy might be able to get alongside, but 2-car makes the pass on the lap car.
Well, interesting there. Now, we saw Boyer move down lower on the racetrack. Those couple corners, maybe searching to find, yeah, there he goes again.
Yeah.
Diving down low where his car worked so good in that first run of the race. Remember the first laps after the restart, he was running the high line, dealing with some traffic and dealing with Stremme challenging him, but now Boyer digging that bottom lane again. So Clint Boyer out in front, third different driver to lead tonight's NASCAR Busch Series race at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Coming up on halfway, lots of racing to go. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. Indianapolis Raceway Park as the leaders come up on the halfway point. Clint Boyer out in front of David Stremme. The top two beginning to close on the tail end of the field. It's a huge pack of traffic that's probably going to cause them some headaches and heartaches here in these next several circuits around. Let's take you through the field, at least the front runners of the race as we hit the midway point, starting with Ralph.
Well, Alan, our race leader, Clint Boyer, and his number 2 has been very happy with that car all night long. As you heard him talking earlier, he said he was able to take that car anywhere on the racetrack, anywhere he wanted to go, and the car was really working. But it was very fast on the bottom of the racetrack. They did pit just before the rain came out and just took tires. They made no adjustments on the number 2. Why would you? It's running very strong, Lindsay.
And just before the rain came out, David Stremme in the number 14 car also came down. We told you he took 4 tires and fuel. David has just gotten on the radio and said he wants a little bit of wedge taken out of the car on the next stop. Ralph?
I talked to crew chief Bono Mannion for Martin Truex.
Up trouble just in front of the leaders. Look out. Boyer snuck through. Paul Wolfe in the 40 got turned around along with Boston Reed in that pack of cars. Leader Clint Boyer was trying to negotiate through.
We talked about patience.
Yep.
But you've got the leader bearing down on you. You've got to go. And if someone's holding you up, you just simply got to try to move them out of the way or whatever it takes to get by. There's Boston Reed, the 57 Lowe's car.
Hendrick Motorsports entry, second caution of this race, is out just past the halfway point.
And Paul Wolfe has the 40 car going again as well. Left front tire is flat.
And he's going to drive all the way around on that. I hope he doesn't tear up the fender. Wolf's going to lose a lap while he was sitting sideways on the racetrack. He's got a lot more damage than just that left front tire flat, huh?
Yeah, the left rear quarter panel is knocked in against the tire. They have a hard time getting the jack under this car to change the left side tires. It's so low.
103 laps, Benny. Going to see any of these leaders pit and make their last stop of the race?
Well, we could.
I'm thinking somebody will, but I don't think a lot of the front runners are going to here. Certainly could be wrong, but I mean, they only pitted, what, lap 50, 53, and a lot of those laps between here and there were run under the caution flag.
See if we can see what happened to the 40 car. Here we see Boyer, the leader in the 2, and there we see Brent Sherman in the 10 gets into Boston Reed. They've checked up because of Paul Wolfe in the 40 having spun and backed in the wall.
They get that right front fender on the 2 car a little bit. Did Sherman, when the 10 car spun, did he get that fender? Yeah, look at it. Is there some damage there?
I don't know. Let's see. racers. I guess he did. There seemed to be some contact between the two.
Yeah, let's check this out.
All right, the 10 car turns sideways in front of him, and sure looks like, yes, there is contact between the 10 and 2. Ralph?
Well, that is definitely something they are talking about. In fact, it was the first thing that Clint Boyer said over the radio when they were talking about what they were going to do to the car during this pit stop. He said, make sure you check that right front fender. I need to know if this car is okay. So that is the first thing you're going to do. The crew's up on the wall. They'll be coming down pit lane here in just a second.
Ralph, it's unbelievable. All the cars are coming to you again. I thought they would change one pit stop tonight. Looks like they're going to make at least 2. Lindsay.
David Stremmy's car is in. He was told pit if the leader pits. That's exactly what they did. David had told Randy Cox, his crew chief, I feel very, very snug in the center. I need a little bit of help. I want an air pressure adjustment made. Obviously, they're getting it done. Stremme is down and away. The 41 car had been toying on coming in also. Ralph, what do you have?
The 2 car is in. Kurt Boyer, they're checking that right front fender. They're also making a small air pressure adjustment, and they're going to go up half a round on the wedge to make this car turn a little bit better. And of course, this, he said, will be their last pit stop. Now, as far as the 8 car of Martin Truex, they're planning on just making an air pressure adjustment to the 8 car of Martin Truex. Pretty happy with the handling of that car. Just a small air pressure adjustment.
And Ralph, he's going to be tickled to death in the 8 car now because he has beat the 2 car off of pit road.
Under caution at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Got some guys who did not stop under the yellow who will take over the lead. That when we come back. Back as the green flag waves at IRP, Ashton Lewis in the 25 and Tyler Walker in the 38 did not pit under the caution. First off the pit lane of those who stopped, Martin Truex Jr. He's running 3rd in the 8. Then you get back to Clint Boyer, Reed Sorensen, Mike Wallace. Where is David Stremme? He's all the way back in 12th place. He was 2nd when he went down pit road.
Had all kinds of problems with the pit stop on the 14 car. We saw some long time changing left side tires on that 4-tire stop. All right, here we go. To the bottom of the racetrack goes Boyer, his favorite spot. On the inside of Tyler Walker. It takes him a few laps to get going, though.
And up front for the lead, Martin Truex looking to the inside of Ashton Lewis.
Oh, and into the front he goes in the 8 car.
Tires. So Truex, 5 championship bonus points right there. Now the race for 3rd place. Reed Sorensen 41, Tyler Walker 38.
Tyler Walker does not want to give up that 4th spot, but he finally does.
And again, older tires on that 38 car. He did not stop under this most recent caution flag. Jason Keller, Mike Wallace trying to follow through. Keller 35, Wallace 64.
Keller trying to get by Mike Wallace and Tyler Walker. Meanwhile, here's a 2 car. Clint Boyer's worked his way up to the 3rd spot. Ralph.
Well, Benny, he came in the leader of this race into that yellow flag pit stop scenario, but he went out in 3rd. Reason being, just what we talked about before we went back to green. They did a great job of drying the racing surface. However, for the drivers getting back in the car, it was very difficult for them to get their shoes completely dry. And as you pointed out, Benny, those metal gas and more importantly, brake pedals, when you're trying to get the car stopped on pit road, made it very slippery, very tricky. And just as he was coming to his pit box, Clint Boyer's foot slipped off the brake pedal. He slid deeper into the pit box than he wanted to, and that cost him time.
Wow. Well, he's trying to make the ground back up now, Ralph, working on Ashton Lewis here for 2nd place.
And he has plenty of time to get by and catch the 8-car Martin Truex.
Tell you what, he better hope his car is as fast as it was before if he wants to catch Truex, because he set sail in that 8-car.
Truex has a 2-second lead, a little over 2-second lead, as Boyer finally gets by Ashton Lewis, goes into second, and here comes the 41 car. Reed Sorensen goes into third spot.
Talking about all these changes of positions on the pit stops, our Aaron's pit summary. Where they were and where they went. Of course, David Stremme, the big struggle on that set of stops.
Man, that was a struggle. All right, let's see. The 2 cars clear of traffic. That last lap, he was a little over. He ran about the same speed as Clint Boyer that time. So, as a matter of fact, Reed Sorensen was faster than both of them.
First place car, driver 41.
Right along with Clint Boyer. Just a little bit, we're going to see the leader, Martin Truex Jr., going down in turn 1.
You know, Benny, it's amazing what a difference a year makes. A year ago, Clint Boyer was sharing a ride with Kevin Harvick, just running not even half the races on the season while Kevin did a lot of the super speedway driving and so on. And Clint's results weren't all that spectacular, and you wondered what was going to happen there if the young man was going to pan out, as pressure-filled as this business is for results. But his team and his team owner, Richard Childress, never gave up on him. They told me, yeah, he's doing a great job. He's going to be good. And this year he got into the 2-car, a ride all of his own for a run at the championship. Boy, he's shown himself to be a fast and solid and consistent race driver.
Yeah, he is. You know, and when they made that announcement last year in Kansas that he was going to drive this 2-car this year and take over the AC Delco car, I mean, one of the best-known cars on the NASCAR Busch Series. He had his entire family from Kansas there. It was really a special moment.
Well, that's the gap from Martin Truex back to Clint Boyer, first to second, with Reed Sorensen a tight third. Now, what of David Stremme? Lindsay, what happened on that pit stop?
I talked to a member of David's crew, and they were all kind of beating themselves up because they said that pit stop was extremely slow for them. They had some lug nuts that fell off the wheel during the stop, obviously taking away a little bit of their time. So they're just fighting. They're fighting for any track position right now.
Man, that's tough. So you see David trying to pick his way up through the traffic there. And back in 10th place right now after falling to 13th from the long pit stop.
David Stremme, another race car driver. You see him driving this 14 car this year. And next year when he starts driving the 40 car for Ganassi and NASCAR Nextel Cup racing, when he starts running up front, you're going to say, well, how could this be?
Yeah.
He didn't win this, he didn't win that. As you can tell tonight, he is a quality race car driver.
A little wiggle wobble there when he went by Tyler Walker, but Stremme picks another one up. That's the 9th spot. Stewart had the penalty earlier for the missing lug nuts, fell back to 31st place, and Tony up to 18th place, doing what he has to do in traffic. We catch this from a couple laps ago.
There we see Tony Stewart in the 33, goes up, and the 46 gets in the back of the 12 car, and about that time Tony bams in the back of the 46, and the world turns sideways, and everything worked out.
Yeah, that wasn't a chrome horn. That was just traffic jammed in front of him. Huh?
That's right.
Yeah. Working on Stanton Barrett here. Yeah, that's a lot of ground to make up. And again, if Tony doesn't get moving in a hurry, he's going to have that leader, Martin Truex, coming up behind him before too long on this tight little racetrack.
Tell you what, Johnny Sauter in this 1 car who dominated this race last year is not running badly tonight. Falling right behind Tony Stewart.
Yeah, but you know, he's sure not running where he expected to. No. He expected to be up there knocking around that top 5 somewhere. And he's back in 19th right now. Heard from him during the rain delay. He said this is one of his, if not his very favorite racetrack.
Who said that?
Johnny Sauter.
Said that?
Yeah.
Lindsay, what's he saying now about this racetrack?
He's saying he's still a little bit tight but he thinks it's getting better with each lap. On their last stop, they brought him in, gave him 4 new tires, fuel, made an air pressure adjustment. They're just saying, go get her.
Tony Stewart being her.
Gonna have to hurry. Now the tough part of this place. Somebody's running that high line with the higher banking in the corner, and you have to try and dig around him on the bottom. Well, he made that look easy.
I think Tony let him look easy.
Yeah.
Ralph, how about Tony?
Well, he's a little loose right now, guys. They put 1 round of wedge in the right rear on the car, put 4 tires and fuel, but that 33 right now a little loose through these corners.
All right. Well, problem for Tony is may not get another crack at pit road between now and the checkered flag in this race. Martin Truex Jr., the driver with the most wins in the NASCAR Busch Series 2005, got 5 of them already. Looking to start counting them on the fingers of that other hand if he can pick another W tonight. NASCAR Busch Series racing from Indianapolis Raceway Park is brought to you by Home 123, the official mortgage company of NASCAR. Enter the Home 123 pay off your mortgage sweepstakes today at home123.com. By Ballpark Franks, be big, be meaty, be frank. And by Allstate, proud sponsor of the Allstate 400 at the Brickyard. Third caution is out at Indianapolis Raceway Park for the 3-3 car.
Tony Stewart is trying to get on the inside of Boston Reed in 57. Makes contact, and Tony down through the mud, the water. Spins around right in front of the field almost. But luckily, no one ran into him. What if Tony got a bath inside that car as Stacy Compton goes by in 59.
Hey, he used to run the open wheel cars on the dirt. He's used to getting spattered by mud.
That's true. This is on board with Stacy Compton as he goes by.
And pit road is open. Tony Stewart's in. Kenny Wallace is in, but most of the front runners chose to stay on the racetrack and not stop with 63 laps to go. See from the missing logo on the side of that tire that Tony's got some issues there with the front end of his car.
And the 66 of Aaron Fike, I think, did make slight contact with Tony while he was sitting over there. And he had to come in and pull out the left front fender off his tire. But all's right with the world now.
So no change up front, and we'll check and see where Tony's going to restart in this thing, although obviously his chances for the win took a serious crimping there, even if they still existed after the penalty from earlier.
Well, that's right, because we have 29 cars on the lead lap. Tony last time by was shown 26th.
Well, not his night. Maybe tomorrow we'll be over at the Brickyard.
He would trade tonight for tomorrow, there's no doubt.
He'd trade a lot to win tomorrow.
He sure would. I read someplace where he said he would trade his Winston Cup trophy for a victory tomorrow at the Brickyard 400.
Said that after winning at New Hampshire a couple of weeks back. 1 to go, signal at the start finish line. We'll go back racing with 60 laps to go in this one. Remind you to enter the Nextel Race to the Chase sweepstakes fueled by Sunoco. You could win a cool $250,000 and a cooler tanker of Sunoco fuel.
Not a tank, folks, a tanker.
Yeah.
About 9,000 gallons.
Race to Sunoco or Nextel for details. Martin Truex Jr. is the leader, Ralph.
Yeah, he's got a very good race car right now, Alan. They're trying to save their stuff for the end of this race. They feel the car is very good right now. That's what Martin says on the radio. And he's really hoping that the race will stay green. They don't want to pit anymore tonight. They do have one set of stickers left if they needed it. He asked his crew chief, Bono Mannion, can we win? Bono said, yeah. So they're pretty much leaving it up to Martin at this stage of the game.
That's a good man to leave it in the hands of these days.
He has proven to be an excellent man at that, yes. How about the driver, car 8. That's Justin Labonte in the 44 car. He is the first car 1 lap down.
Yeah, Justin had a little problem on his last pit stop, not this past caution, but the one before that forced him to come back to pit road. I believe he was missing a lug nut as well, and that was the cause for the return trip to the pit lane. A lot of heavy traffic starting to stack up for these leaders now.
Notice he's Trimmy trying to work his way back into this battle.
Carl Edwards in the middle of that mess. Here he comes in the 60.
Brandon Miller, 21, on the outside of Carl Edwards. And they're about 2-3 wide behind them.
That is a caution waiting to happen right there.
I'm telling you, just trying to find a place.
Tracy Hines in the 6 for Ray Evernham. Paul Menard in the 11. And Stan Barrett in the 36. Stan now not on the lead lap.
Tracy Hines giving that 6 car a great run. Mike Wallace finished second at St. Louis last week in that 6.
Yeah, and you know, Tracy, this is he's one of those open wheel guys, BP. A lot of laps on this racetrack in the USAC divisions, the sprints, the midgets, the Silver Crown cars. So when you're trying to adapt to a new form of racing, a Busch Series car, yeah, Tracy's been running the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, so the radial tires and the NASCAR weighted racing vehicle not new to him, but you know, jump over to the Busch Series car, it drives differently than most trucks do.
Sure does. But this is the best we've seen Tracy Hines run in this NASCAR Busch Series. Is Strimmy currently shown in the 6th position, trying to get by Hamlin in 5th. Let's see if he can come back from that and win.
Yeah, he's obviously got a very good race car.
Boy, Gagler cars all around the racetrack. Ever see Mark Green, who led the race some in the 23 car?
Now, started to talk about Carl Edwards before. Carl started 31st, Ralph. He's up to 9th.
It's been a busy night for Brad Parrish-Grucci for this number 60 in communication with Carl Edwards. And one of the things Brad told me about working with Carl Edwards is the fact that this is the first time Brad's had a driver underneath him that was younger than him. If you think about all the drivers that Brad has worked with over the years, they've all been older. He said this time, now when I talk to Carl, there is a different relationship there. He looks to me with a little bit more respect and a little bit more interest in what I have to say. Knowing the amount of knowledge I have gained over the years, he tends to pay more attention. So they've been working hard on getting the right setup. The last round of adjustments included going up 1 round, 1 and 4 tires of fuel. Still trying to dial that car in a little bit better.
Well, I'll tell you, for Brad, that says one of 2 things. It says that he has accomplished a lot in this business, that drivers are looking up to what he says with respect. The other thing is he's been around a while now. He's not as young as he used to be. And that'll get back to Brad, so that's why I said it.
Right. We saw him at Richmond when Carl Edwards won the race. He tried to do the cartwheel.
Yeah.
And you can tell he's been around a pretty good while. Tell you what, Truex, Clint Boyer, the 2 car, is not gaining on 8. As a matter of fact, the 8 car the last couple of laps has been faster than Clint Boyer. So the changes they've made to the 8 car has certainly worked, and Boyer hasn't gotten any better.
this as we look at our Aqua Velva trivia question and a picture of Martin Truex Jr. leading this race. Of course, he is in the field for tomorrow's All-State 400 at the Brickyard. Who's the only driver to win at IRP and then race in the Brickyard the next day?
Now we'll just go back one car. He drove the 2-car here in the victory, didn't he? Did he drive the AC Delco car when he won the race, Kevin Harvick?
Yes, sir. That was the year that he started off the year campaigning for the NASCAR Busch Series Championship. And then Dale Earnhardt's untimely passing put Kevin in the unenviable position of doing the double duty that year and raced in the Brickyard the following day after winning here at IRP the night before. Another solid day. The top 3 in the championship running 1, 2, 3 in this race right now.
Hey, Lindsay, has Reed Sorensen got any chance of catching these 2 guys?
If you base it on his performance last week, I would say he does. This is the same car that Reed won with at Gateway last week. He finished in the top 5 also with this car at Pikes Peak. His crew chief, Brian Patty, just told me that, that this is it, that Reed is wide open now. He's telling him to go get Ralph.
Lindsay, talking about Martin Truex, I spoke with Dave Charpentier, one of the lead guys who works on this car with Martin, and he said this is quite possibly the most focused driver he has ever worked with, and that's a big statement coming from Dave Charpentier, who spent a lot of time working with Alan Kulwicki. He said one of the things that he noticed about Martin that proved how focused he was, as many folks have heard, Martin was recently involved in contract negotiations with the folks at DEI. Well, we're talking about millions of dollars in the future of your career. While all of that was going on, Martin said, I don't want to know what's going on. You guys figured out I want to worry on the race car. And Alan, when you got millions of dollars on the line and your contract is sitting there, well, that takes a lot of focus to think about the race car and not those dollar signs.
And Rob, it also says he's very young.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he had his best man in charge of doing those negotiations for him.
His dad.
Yeah. Dad, a very successful businessman in the seafood business up in New Jersey and the East Coast. Truex out in front looking for win number 6 of 2005. He's 43 laps away from a checkered flag at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Back at Indianapolis Raceway Park, the NASCAR Busch Series live on TNT. Thanks for staying up. Thanks for hanging with us through an hour rain delay from earlier on. Martin Truex certainly didn't let the weather slow him down. He is charging toward the checkered flag, and he and, more importantly, Benny, I think his pit crew received credit for our ExxonMobil command performance of the race.
Because they, on the pit stop, got him in front, and Clint Boyer has not been able to pass him. I think if Boyer had been in front, they would see the crew. I think if Boyer had been in front, I don't know the Truex would get by him either.
Stop coming at lap number 104, giving Truex that crucial track position advantage. He's trying to make the most of it right now. Truex, along with Reed Sorensen and Clint Boyer, have been the 3 drivers that have dominated this race. 166 laps have been run so far, and those numbers add up to 146. They've led all but 20. Mark Green and Ashton Lewis Jr. leading the remaining 20. Part of those under the caution during the track drying for rain.
Reed Sorensen, the 35 car, Jason Carroll. This is a battle for the 3rd position, and a pretty good battle.
I tell you what, nice rally by Keller after that hiccup on the pit stop earlier where he fell back to 12th.
And also a great comeback by David Strimmy, who's right behind these 2 fellas.
Yeah. Yeah, there he comes. Another good night for Denny Hamlin, too, in that 20 car for Joe Gibbs.
Oh, look at this, driving up on the outside, trying to get on the outside of 14.
Get some lap traffic. Randy McDonald in the 72. 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th, all running together here.
We've got Denny Hamlin in the 20 car running along with him now, currently running the 6th position. We also have Kevin Hamlin in the 4 car back in 31st. Denny Hamlin's from Virginia. Kevin Hamlin's from Washington or Oregon or someplace.
Washington, Snohomish, Washington. Seattle suburb. It's a good fight for third here. Reed Sorensen, after kind of hanging with Boyer earlier in this race, not able to hang with him on this run. He's fallen back about 3 seconds from those guys, BP.
Yes.
But big picture championship, which Reed is very much thinking in my conversations with him in the last couple of weeks at the racetrack here. He's going to stay within sight of Truex and Boyer anyway tonight. He'll lose a little bit of ground, but really not a whole lot of points.
10 or 15 points, that's about all.
Yeah.
If he could finish where he's running.
Right.
But it's going to be some pretty close competition here in a moment between the 35, the 14. What's the 41 saying, Lindsay?
The 41 isn't really saying anything because, like I told you guys before, he's very, very quiet when he gets very focused. He's obviously doing well trying to gain that position. This is somebody that you see at every race here for Reed. This is Reed's father. I just asked him, you know, how have you seen that Reed has changed? And he told me that getting the chance to run with all these veterans and gaining their respect is the main thing that really impacts Reed. And he says running with guys like Martin Truex, Clint Boyer, Carl Edwards, all these great teams, it's really teaching him how to race. Guys.
Wow. Truex has got his work cut out for him. Trouble.
Tracy Hines. That's turn 4. Caution flags out. We were about to say that Martin Truex was getting into some heavy race traffic, but just as he caught the big pack of traffic, the pace car is going to pick him up and let that traffic go back around.
So it looks like the last 20 or 25 laps of this race, the track will be pretty clean in front of the leader, Martin Truex Jr.
That's tough for Tracy Hines. He was having a good night.
It sure is.
Yeah. Just bragging on him a couple minutes ago.
Yeah.
Well, just 25 laps to go. Don't think we'll see any of the leaders pit here.
Don't see a lot of damage on the 6 car. Yeah. Well, the leader, pit road is not open yet, so we won't know who is going to pit. But I just can't imagine track position being what it is. I cannot imagine these cars up front pitting.
Now, got 26 cars on the lead lap. Maybe some of the guys toward the back of the lead lap will come in and throw in one more set of tires that they do have available to them. But there's no way Martin Truex is going to stop. Little wrinkle there just over the top of the tire.
Yeah, I'm not even sure he's going to pit.
Well, if I spun around and had to lock the brakes up, I would want a fresh set of tires.
See what happens.
Uh-oh.
Oh, wow. And around he goes. All right, here we go. Pit road is open.
And you're right, Hines didn't even stop. Carl Edwards is going to come in and pit. Ashton Lewis will stop. But as predicted, frontrunner Martin Truex Jr. and his closest pursuers stay on the racetrack. 23 laps to go. Back for what we hope is an exciting finish at IRP in a minute. Racing with 20 laps to go in tonight's Kroger 200 at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Big crowd sitting through an hour rain delay, and now seeing if Martin Truex Jr. can hold off Clint Boyer to the checkers. Whoa, trouble back in the pack.
Paul Menard trying to get on the outside of David Green, the 27. They made a little contact, and Menard goes up and hits the outside retaining wall in that 11.
I think that started in front of them, BP. It looked like Reed Sorensen spun his tires when he jumped on the gas and grabbed the gear, and the little accordion back might have contributed to that. That's tight. Denny Hamlin around Blake Feast. There you see Tracy Hines in the 6, who, by the way, did end up pitting under that caution.
That's because he was a lap.
Oh, big trouble. Turn 2. Cars around in smoke. Tony Stewart has gone for the daily double. Got Tim Sauter around in the 56 car. Boston Reed in the 57. The 52 car, that's Doug Holzel.
Tim Sauter got some pretty doggone good damage to the back of that car.
Yes, sir.
Oh, the left rear tire is gone. Man, someone must have knocked that tire off the rim.
Oh, and Carl Edwards got a piece of it.
Carl Edwards made a pit stop, running 9th, decided to come in and change tires on that caution flag. Why did he do that, Ralph? Do you know?
Well, Benny, the bigger story with the 60 actually is that he's not feeling all that well. He has already told the crew he wants a golf cart brought around so that as soon as this race is over, he wants out of here to get back and get himself situated and ready to go for tomorrow. They have been working on that car. They have taken a half round out of the right rear, and they put 4 tires of fuel on it. But right now, the bigger issue with Carl Edwards, he's a little under the weather.
Well, he's got another issue. He's torn up the race car pretty badly, Ralph.
Yeah, we need to do some work on that.
Right front tire looks to be flat. Let's see. See, the 56 car goes up and just runs in the back of Tony Stewart. And it's Carl Edwards that knocked the left rear tire off of Tim Sauter's car.
Hate to speculate, but as fast as Tim Sauter kind of ran in there, I wonder if his brake pedal wasn't as good as he was hoping for when he went off into there.
We can see the heavy damage on the Carl Edwards automobile.
Yeah, if he wasn't feeling well before, he's not feeling any better right now.
No, this is not good. Not done anything to help out that situation.
Tony Stewart fans hoping he's gotten all of his bad luck for the weekend out of the way tonight. Not the kind of evening he was hoping for at a place where he gained a lot of national prominence in his ascendancy up the racing ranks.
What did we say? He'd won about 10 races here between midget, sprint, Silver Crown, and all that.
Well, I think the big key to a lot of that, of course, you know, they used to do the televised races from here, the USAC open wheel races that Jeff Gordon came to be nationally known from, and then Tony Stewart, and it's followed on to people like Casey Kane and Ryan Newman and so on. That really did a lot for the career of people like Tony.
Tell you what, I'll never forget watching Jeff Gordon go down the backstretch and run over that left rear tire in the midget, flying up through the air, come back down and never back off the gas. I was really impressed with Jeff Gordon.
Brandon Miller just took his car back behind the wall for Richard Childress Racing, so some damage suffered there by the 21. And they continue to work on the Carl Edwards car. We remind you to race to your mailbox and look for the blue Valpak envelope full of savings and your chance to win the coolest ride to school with Carl Edwards, courtesy of Office Depot. Valpak, there's something in it for you.
Alan, you picked a mighty poor time to read that promo. I mean, he looks like a very reckless driver now.
Yeah. Coolest ride to school, huh?
Yeah.
I think the car will be in a little bit better shape than that one is right now. And I can probably pretty much assure you he won't be driving as fast on that ride to school as he was tonight.
No, but Carl Edwards got down in the corner, had no place to go. Car spun around him and in front of him, and he ran into one of them.
Yep. Of course, the back end of a tough day. Carl in a crash earlier today out at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, hooked on his backup car in tomorrow's All-State 400 at the Brickyard. Well, there are the top 3 in the championship standings. Truex, Boyer, and Sorensen running in that order on the racetrack now with 14 laps to go. Ralph?
Bono Mannion is the crew chief for our race leader, Martin Truex. All right, Bono, how's the car? How good a shape are you in?
We're in pretty good shape. You know, we figured there'd be a few cautions here at the end. As soon as we could make it on gas, we pitted. And still, car's really good. Clint's really good. Just lacking a little bit of forward bite on these old tires, but once they cool down, they're pretty good for 5-10 laps.
Aaron, the lap times that you're parking out to your driver seem like they're pretty close between him and Boyer. Does he have anything left to make it maybe just a little bit quicker?
I've been listening to Clint and those guys, and they got about the same problem we do. So I owe it to this pit crew. You know, you win and lose on pit road. You win and lose with your guys. And Shannon had a bad stop last week, and I just told him this one's for him if we get this. So still a long way to go. But whatever. It was a good pit stop. We came out with the lead. We did it last week. It didn't pay off, so we'll see what happens tonight.
With more on the story from the car that's running in second, here's Lindsay.
Reed Sorensen's crew chief, Brian Patty. Brian, I know Reed just got on the radio, said he lost a little bit of grip out there. Does he have something for him? Can he win this race?
It's going to be tough. 2 cars been tough all night. When the 8 car got out front, he's been real tough since. It's pretty much follow leader from here on out unless you hit somebody, and I don't think we're going to race like that. We're in good company, 35 behind us, and the 20 and the 14. I mean, it's good. It's been a good race for us.
How is the car?
Car's a little tight in the center. Free off, which is typical here. Just wish we could have got it freed up there that last pit stop a little bit more.
All right, thank you, Brian. Ralph.
Nope.
So I guess Ralph don't have anything to say.
They're trying to set up for him to talk to the crew chief of the 2 car, I believe, Ralph. He's still working on it. All right. Well, we'll wait for Ralph to get there and get situated. Meantime, we're 1 lap away from the restart, so we're going to go racing with 11 laps to go. Wrapping up the 5th caution flag of the night.
And probably not the last one.
Well, I just think it's been a relatively clean race for here, BP.
But the checkered flag's in the air now.
I don't want to jinx it. But it's been a relatively clean race for here. And just to get back to what Kevin Mannion, Martin Truex's crew chief, was talking about, last week they had a lightning pit stop in the race at St. Louis. They went from like 4th to 1st, but 25 laps later had to come back in because a tire was loose. It wasn't tightened all the way, and it cost them the race and cost them a decent finish. They finished way back in the pack. Shannon Myers was the front tire changer on the car that Kevin was referring to there. And obviously they had another lightning pit stop tonight. This one, though, has gotten them the lead and worked out pretty well so far.
No loose lug nuts. All right, green flag. 11 laps to go. Oh, no, the 12th car is up there battling with the 2. That's going to slow him down a little bit. No, he gets by.
Joel Kaufman, his NASCAR Busch Series debut tonight in that 12 car. Tell you what, Boyer's going to have to get the whip out.
Sure is.
Because Truex got away nicely on that restart. There's Sorensen, 3rd place driver. A couple lap cars in front of him. Then the race for 4th. Keller and Stremme, 35 and 14.
And this is a battle between Tracy Hines and Kaufman for the first car 1 lap down back in 25th. So give it to Hines. Oh, some contact between Stremme at 14 and Keller at 35. Battle for 4th.
Stremme trying to move up and take it away. Keller trying to defend. And they're both now running the bumper of Reed Sorensen, the 3rd place car. That 6th car, Tracy Hines, after the spin, stopping to get some fresh tires. He's up there poking his nose around the 2nd place machine.
That's right. He is fast. Unfortunately, the 2 car of Clint Boyer has not been able to get up to speed once this green flag has come back out. The 8 car Truex has just pulled away from him. We're not seeing nearly the speed out of the 2 car we have seen all night.
So far,
flat tire, what's going on?
Yeah, so far Boyer not able to get up. Sorensen not able to get up and challenge Boyer for 2nd place. And we come down to 5 laps to go.
So battle for the 7th position. David Green 27, Bernard in 11th. Johnny Sauter in 1, and there we see Mike Wallace in 64.
Trouble, car on the wall, turn 4, Tyler Walker.
Man, what a day it's been for this team.
Yeah. Yeah, you could see the frustration there, chucking that steering wheel up onto the dashboard. That's too bad. Engine failure on their second lap of qualifying earlier today, and the crew thrashed around to get that thing installed, rolled the car out onto the grid while they were singing the national anthem. That's how close they cut it to being able to get into the race. And for Tyler, his night comes to an end in a way he did not hope for. That's a pretty hard hit, too.
Looks like it. Looks like a lot of damage to that right front fender.
So we're going to have a little overtime, BP. A little tender walking away there, too.
Sure looks that way.
So despite the hour rain delay, going to be looking at a green-white checker finish to decide this one. We're inside of 10 laps to go, so there'll be no lap cars in the way. It'll be just those lead lap cars up the front in a single file restart. And Clint Boyer will have a clear traffic shot at Martin Truex, but I'll tell you, the way that 8 car's been running, he's going to have one shot at him.
I think that Boyer's biggest concern is not going to be the car in front, but the car behind him. What's Gil Martin saying about this 2-car, Ralph?
Well, let's find out. All right, Gil, one more time. Can your guy get him?
Our car hasn't been that good on the short runs tonight. AC Delco car's been pretty good tonight, but on the short runs, we just hadn't had it for him right here. These cautions at the end have kind of hurt us.
What's been the problem with the short runs? Why are you not so good there?
Probably we've been running a little bit low air pressure right there, and because the car's been coming in good late, that's the only thing we can figure why it's not coming in good on the short runs. But I mean, he's done a good job tonight. We'll come out here with a good finish, and it'll be good.
To add to that, Alan, to make it even worse for the number 2 car, I just heard over the radio Martin Truex said to his crew chief Bono Mannion, "Yeah, I saved a little bit for the end. I figured it was go time," and he sure did move away.
Yeah, he's been gone, and he needs to do it again.
Great picture of Clint Boyer.
Yep. Reed Sorensen, 3rd place. Lindsay, what's he saying? What's going on there?
Still being really quiet, but I just wanted to tell you guys that, you know, even if they really do think they've got something for them, do not expect this team to celebrate prematurely. They are very superstitious. They don't even like you to talk about win. Don't talk about it until the checkers drop. That's what Brian Patty told me earlier when I saw him today. Guys.
Superstitious racer. Well, that's unusual.
Yeah, that's new, huh?
Oh, boy.
Yeah. You know what, this 8-car of Truex, they really did not start this season off in championship form, Benny. Yeah, they had the one win on the road course in Mexico City, but they weren't knocking off the kind of numbers that we were used to seeing from them. And then a couple of months ago, they got on a tear. And their last 6 finishes, the worst of them has been 7th place, and they've won 3 of those last 6 races.
And I asked Bono, Kevin Mannion, the crew chief, about that, and what caused that. He said, well, we ran so well last year, but we felt like we couldn't stay still. We had to make some changes on the cars to make them better. So okay, this will help. They made some changes to the race car they felt would make them better, and guess what? It made them worse.
Yeah.
So they finally just threw all that stuff aside and went back to where they were last year and started trying to refine on that. That's when they started running better.
And the other thing Martin Truex told me, the gentleman there in the center of the 3 on the picture, obviously the one in the light shirt is Kevin Mannion, the crew chief, but the other gentleman there, that's Dave Charpentier. Charpentier started the season as a crew chief for another effort, a part-time Nextel Cup Series effort, and then rejoined this DEI group where he had come from previously, a little over a year and change ago. And both Kevin Mannion and Martin Truex say that the rejoining of Dave Charpentier to that organization has really helped get their chassis and their aerodynamics program caught up and going too.
Very sharp fellow, Dave Charpentier. I agree that he would be an aid to any team.
Yeah. And by the way, just so you know that I am aware Truex finished 26th last week. I meant that all of his finishes have been 7th or better until last week's misstep and that late race pit stop problem I talked about that caused him to come back in for the unscheduled hiccup. Even then, he was leading the race at that point late in the day. So it's been going well. And of course, Truex to be in the All-State 400 at the Brickyard tomorrow, qualifying 17th fastest for his first trip to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
All right, signal is being given. 1 lap. We'll throw the green flag.
Remind you, NBC 2 Eastern time. We start with Bank of America Countdown to Green. A visit with Tony Stewart in his hometown. We'll talk to Rusty Wallace. We'll talk to Jeff Gordon. We'll talk to some of the other drivers who will be stories in the 12th NASCAR Nextel Cup Series race at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. All right, a little overtime. Green-white checkered coming up.
Will be given these cars will be given the green flag at lap 202, so we will hopefully complete 204 laps tonight.
Remember, 1 chance at the green-white checkered. If the caution comes out before it has been completed, they don't take another whack at it. So this is it. The 1 shot at the overtime. Clint Boyer's 1 shot, perhaps, to steal the win away from Martin Truex.
All right, green flag. Boy, he just cannot get this car going until after run about 30-40 laps. Now he has to watch the mirror to make sure he keep that 41 car of Sorensen behind him.
White flag, final lap tonight at IRP. Nobody able to mount a charge up front. Second place might be the closest challenge as we come to the finish, as Sorensen continues to try and work over Clint Boyer. But Martin Truex Jr., the defending series champion, is going to make it his 6th win of 2005. Truex to the checkers at IRP.
Great comeback for David Stremme in 5th spot.
Well, last week, Ralph, the pit problem cost them a poor finish. This week, the pit crew got its revenge.
Well, Bono, as Alan Bestwick just mentioned, last week the pit crew and the pit stop cost you a win. This week it helped get you one. And by the way, in case you weren't scoring at home, this is the 100th win for DEI as a corporation in NASCAR competition. Congratulations. How's that make you feel?
Yeah, well, I think they jinxed us last week. They gave us the banner to take. And just an awesome feeling, to get the win for Teresa and Dale. What Dale and Teresa built here, it's just awesome, just an awesome place to work and a group of guys. And the question was, what's the attitude around the shop with the loose wheel last week? There was no attitude. It was pump the guy up, pat him on the back, tell him we'll get him next week, and that's what we did.
Congratulations, go celebrate, make it a short night. You got to go racing again tomorrow.
Our winner tonight, Martin Truex Jr., presented by Reese's Big Cup. He'll have a big celebration tonight. I shouldn't say that. He probably won't have a very long celebration. He's got to race 400 miles at the Brickyard tomorrow.
He'll want to get out of this place as quickly as he can. Remember, in 2001, Kevin Harvick won this race, went across the street the next day and won the Brickyard 400.
Competed in the Brickyard.
But competed in.
Yeah, didn't win it till 2003.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. He didn't win it till 2003.
Well, quite a job tonight by Truex and company, leading 94 of the 200 laps en route to his 12th win in 72 career NASCAR Busch Series races. If my math is correct, and I'm sure you'll jump on me if it's not, that's 1 in 6.
That's not bad.
Kidding me? I'd take it.
Yeah.
And Truex becoming yet another winner here at this Indianapolis Raceway Park. The variety of winners over the years here. 24 races, 20 different winners now, with Truex adding his name to that roster.
It's pretty neat, acknowledging the fans here and what they put up with tonight.
Yeah, they hung around through the rain.
Yes, they did.
Very good. I talked with Martin on pit road just before he made his qualifying run tonight, Benny, and asked him about his day over at the Brickyard and actually hopping back and forth between this track and that and the helicopter. And he said, you know what? I've had a great time. Well, he's had an even better time now. Let's hear from our winner with Ralph.
Well, if he wasn't wet enough from the rain, he's soaked now from the victory celebration. Come here, Martin Truex. All right, he's got his crew chief in here with him. congratulations on a hard-fought win here tonight, and also for getting the 100th victory for Dale Earnhardt Incorporated. That's got to make you feel pretty good. You said earlier on the radio this car was not good at all during practice qualifying today, but excellent during the race. What made the difference?
These guys, man, we got out front, we got clean airs. You know, it doesn't sound like a lot on a small track, but clean air is big. They made awesome adjustments. We done some stuff before qualifying that we knew was going to fix it or help fix it. We didn't know it was going to be that good, but that last pit stop, perfect air pressure adjustments, and it's awesome to get the 100th win for DEI. Just real proud of all these guys. They stick with it. I complain all day long about how bad my car is, and we come out and win the race. So just real proud of them.
And tomorrow you go for DEI victory 101 at the Brickyard 400. How do you feel knowing you're taking this momentum with you tomorrow?
Well, I just feel real fortunate to be in the position I'm in. We've got a pretty strong car over there, and I got to thank everybody at Bass Pro Shops for doing that, and everybody at DEI for sticking with me and giving me a good car for over there. So I'm excited. I got to run the Daytona 500, and I'm getting to run the Brickyard 400. It's been a pretty incredible season for us.
Last week you lost one just barely with a problem on pit road. Today you win one here tonight and extend that points lead. Is this another one of the signs that says this team's ready to repeat as champions?
Absolutely. We race week to week. We race to win every week, and last week was last week. So we're going to try to go win Watkins Glen next week, and before that we're going to celebrate a little tonight and hopefully have a good run tomorrow.
Take a little bit of this money, go buy a bigger umbrella, would you? Congratulations, best of luck tomorrow.
Hey, there we go. Somebody must have pulled a plug or something on us. We weren't trying to leave early, really, trust me. Showing you the results from tonight's race. BP, final thought?
Well, I was surprised those guys made a couple of pit stops. I thought they would try to do it on one, but the strategy worked well for Martin Truex Jr. They made that stop with about 100 laps to go, and he stayed out. No one could pass him.
And the final finishers in tonight's 200-lap NASCAR Busch Series race here at IRP will be, there we go, Tyler Fuller and Hall. Now, we were trying to hear from Reed Sorensen a second ago. Lindsay?
Here we go. Reed Sorensen, what I was going to ask you is that you were so excited, and you said the car even surprised yourself that it was so good. So how do you feel about your third place finish?
I was pretty happy with it. Clint didn't look too happy with his second place run, but I'm pretty happy where we ended up. Car, we fought it all day. We made so many changes on the car today in practice. It's a really good run for us. We got the discount tire scheme back on the car and had another good run in that. And Martin's hard to beat anywhere we go. And if you finish right behind him, you came close at least. But I think me and myself and Clint and Martin are going to have a good run down to the end, and hopefully we'll give it a good run for the money.
All right, Reed currently third place in points. Guys?
And we check the championship standings after tonight's race. Looking ahead to Watkins Glen next Saturday for the NASCAR Busch Series. 15-point gain for Martin Truex tonight.
Carl Edwards takes another step backwards. He's now 331 back. David Strimmy moves up one spot. Paul Menard hanging on that 10th spot.
So that's how it looks as the NASCAR Busch Series gets set to go run a road course for the second time this season, and that will be next weekend. That's been quite a night here at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Tough field of cars, big crowd, exciting race with the champion Martin Truex Jr. coming out on top. Sat through an hour's rain delay as well, but these fans never left. They stuck around until the checkered flag. All-State 400 at the Brickyard, NBC, 2 Eastern time tomorrow. We'll look for you then. Elliott Sadler is on the pole. For Benny Parsons, I'm Alan Bestwick. You've been watching NASCAR on TNT.